welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with Matt Murray,
Hello.
James Farley,
Hello.
and Sean Bell.
Hello.
We'd like to start the show, as we always do, by thanking our Patreon producers for this month. They are Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chap, Simon Nelson, Moomin Biscuit, Trans Rights and Human Rights, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gasman, Rocketman76, Smooth Monkey, Richard Sawyer, John Tempelli, Jackie Sniper, Sam Higton, Thomas, Tom S, Stan, Philip with an F, Cutty, Steve Lee, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Man, Tri-State, Jack Oven, Jonathan Edwards, no longer a freeloader, Grey Dragon Claw, Ramalapatar, Ramalamalaptar, Angry Baboon, and a new returning Full Nelson member. It's Colin, the car wanker Smith. Thank you, Colin, for returning. For those of you that don't know, Colin was quite the hit at last year's Christmas party, and I can only assume Colin will be joining us again for this year's Christmas party, hopefully with another anecdote, because that was amazing.
I've got to say, Matt, last week I noticed in the chat, Angry Baboon did actually rename themselves to Angry Baboom.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Oh, Matt. You gotta, come on, you gotta keep up with this.
Angry, you've done it again.
Do not rename yourself again, please.
No, but also on the subject of the Christmas party, yeah, for those who weren't here last year, yeah, that's when basically for those at the video tier on our Patreon, last year we did basically a massive video call Christmas party where there was food, there was snacks. Obviously, you had to bring your own snacks because it's remote. But yeah, that was really great fun last year. We're gonna do it again this year. Hopefully, more people will turn up, and yeah, it's good.
That's December, right? That's December. So
yeah, so our video show for Patreon. Well, no, let's get people frothing at the mouth now. So our video show for Patreon in December.
Subscribe for November.
Well, we should probably keep going for December, I'm thinking.
I mean, I agree. I'm not, because remember, if you don't subscribe at patreon.com/TCGS, we will stop. We'll stop.
We'll stop before the Gotti show as well, which would be a killer.
Yeah.
We'll stop during the Gotti show.
Yeah.
We'll do the first round and that's it.
Yeah, we'll do a draft and that's it.
Fast approaching. That is fast approaching. Apologies this week if I sound a little bit James Farley. We are still in the process of moving, I guess. It's been 7 days now and I feel dead. I feel actually quite tired.
You've been working for most of it as well, haven't you? You had 2 days off?
Well, yeah, I took Friday off as well because I got to Thursday and I was like, I need to take another day off because this is insane. Yeah. And then I did 3 days of just building stuff.
Which is harder than it sounds, right?
It is, and that's what I tell Jo on a regular basis. Actually, she's sitting there while I'm watching the Millwall game on my telephone in the background with a hammer in my back pocket that I haven't used.
Have you ever done the thing where it's 9 p.m. and you're like, I haven't built the bed yet. I'll start building the bed now. It'll only take about an hour, and then it's midnight, and you just
no, I don't do that. It's just no, I don't do that. I get to the point where I'm like done, and that's usually about midday. Yeah. Put feet up. Go on, unload some boxes, girl. Good. I've been doing that a lot recently. I should know. I love and respect my wife. She is a wonderful woman. Thanks to everyone that subscribes at patreon.com/TCGS. Yeah, please go there and show your support. We really do appreciate it. I wasn't on the show last week. As I said, I was moving. I've got plenty of notes. But can I just say, up front, I thought it was good. I thought it was a good show.
I mean, that's great. So that's great to start off like that.
I mean, don't listen to all the other fuckers who said it was shit.
I genuinely thought it was decent. So I don't just keep your heads up because I thought that was a good one last week. But
so did we. I don't know where this is coming from.
I'm sure you did.
There was very little feedback on it.
I'm not. I'm not saying anything. All I'm saying was that I thought it was good. That's all.
Thank you.
All right, but I do have some notes. So you ready to get
constructive criticism?
Here we go. I cannot believe the lack of podcast awards chat, especially as with the greatest story of all time, which you did since talk about on the Patreon show. But my word, how could you not? For starters, I enjoyed it way more this year than I did last year.
Mm-hmm.
I said to Matt at the time when it was very clear we weren't going to win again, as they were reading out the judges' comments about the winner, about how concise and brilliantly edited it was. I thought, well, the funniest thing that could possibly happen is that we lose to Apocalypse players again, and that's what happens. But it does make me laugh how every time the comments from the judges when they read them out, they're never about the content. It's never about the content.
It's just like, oh, this is actually really professional. Like,
yeah, they didn't say that to any other one, including that 6-year-old that won one. Do you know what I mean? Like, no one said that. But we had the greatest story ever, and I will tell it here, even though you said it on the Patreon show. And Sean, I cannot tell you how much respect you gained from me that night. And I think I told you that night, that would have destroyed me, what happened to you.
Me too.
So what happens?
It's just one of those things, man.
I know, but for me, it would have ruined my night. Like, genuinely ruined my night.
I would have left to have to find some emergency way to fix it.
So we didn't do much beforehand. We sort of went and recorded a podcast. James was late, and so he wasn't.
Well, he didn't turn up.
You were late. I'm not having a go at you. I'm just saying, why are you shaking your head?
That's fine.
That's just a fact.
He wasn't late to the pod. He didn't turn up to the pod.
Yeah. So we turned up to we went for a drink first, I think. Did we go to a pub first? We didn't, did we?
No, we didn't. We went
straight to the
ran out of time.
We had some food, then ran
out of time after the food, didn't we?
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We had some food. We went to the thing, and what you do is you walk in, and there's a big like atrium. You walk down. You go down these escalators, and at the bottom they've got what is essentially the red carpet. There's no red carpet there, but that's where you walk in and you get your photo taken by the professionals and all this sort of stuff. You stand in front of that big thing with podcast awards all over it and you get your photo taken, right? So we did that, and then we walked in, and then the lovely people at Dungeons and Dickheads walked over because Dave Dogface is a TLNA fan, and so am I. So we kind of know each other, but not really. So like we talk online a bit, and he came over and he was like, Dave, you know, and I was like, it was great, and we were having a nice conversation, and then he grabbed hold of you, Sean, and walked off a bit, and I was like, what's going on here? What is going on? I thought he was going.
This guy's a fucking idiot.
I thought he was going to go, what would Dave like for his birthday? so you come back and you were like, oh God, and Dave, I don't know why he took you to one side, because he turned around to me straight away and went, just had to tell him his flies were down, and I went, oh right, and we all looked and we went, Sean, how long were your flies down for? And so basically, when you're having your professional photo taken, we wanted one for Instagram that night. Mm-hmm. So we asked another person that was there if you could take a photo of us with the phone. So we could check to see if, and you zoomed in and your flies were not only open, you were lucky you were wearing underwear, because you would have shown your cock, like you would have.
Do people not often wear underwear to the independent podcast awards?
I haven't done for 2 years now.
I heard that was a thing. I heard that was a
right,
thing.
fine.
Yeah. That at least that's what Dungeons and Dickheads was saying. And I tell you what, when the professional photo come out 2 days later, I thought I was going to die. Like you know, the ones where the air just forcibly comes out of your lungs, and you think, I'm going to be sick here. What did you think when you saw it? Did you notice that you can see the colour of your pants in it?
Yeah. Thankfully, they weren't like one of the bright ones. They were just like navy blue.
Navy blue.
It's just, I would just love to know what, like, did the photographer not notice? Did they notice, not give a shit? Did they just be like, well, I haven't got time to edit this. I'm not, like, it's going on.
Or maybe they just thought it was a thing. You know, it's
Maybe,
like
fashion.
There's no way they no, they just didn't notice it. There's no way they noticed it. Otherwise, they could have cropped it. I mean, they very easily could have cropped it.
Well, no,
The
I
thing
mean,
is,
yeah.
What's weird is obviously, so we've got, you know, that photograph now, and it would be nice to be able to use it for our own stuff. I assume we're allowed to do that.
No chance, no.
But is it weird to edit it out?
Not if we're going to use it ourselves. I think we'd...
No. I mean,
look, you just whack a censored sticker over it,
Yeah,
and we
just
can use it.
blur it.
Yeah,
the way I
blur
see it, Sean, is that would have destroyed my life for a good few months. So if you want to edit it when we use it in future, go ahead. Yeah. I've done my tweet showing it. That's it. This is fine. You could do whatever you want with it. If you want to edit it out, that's fine. I might do an edit where it's just the flies, though.
Yeah.
So that if you piss me off, I'll just tweet that. But
Yeah, no worries.
also afterwards, I got to give a shout out to the Chat In podcast where it was one of those as well where we won't go into it, but we were. Okay, no, we won't go into it actually because this is. But we were chatting to several people throughout the night, mainly because we walked over to where the breadsticks were. For some reason.
We commandeered that table pretty quick.
I think we thought, if we get there first, no one will bother us, and we can just have all the breadsticks. No, everyone was like, "Can you get out of the way, please? I want some breadsticks."
You're like, are you eating them? It's like, yes, we are actually. Yeah.
Breadsticks and some olives, please.
Yeah.
No one touched them.
No.
But then this group came over the chat in podcasters that have been podcasting since October, I think, and their thing is that when we asked them what their podcast was about, they were like, "Oh, I don't know," and basically they get together once a week and in someone's got like a bar at the end of their garden and they record it there, and I was like, "Oh, I wonder what this sounds like." Incredible is the answer. It's one of those professional sounding podcasts I've ever heard in my life, and sort of showed us up. But
pretty soon next day, I'm like, "Oh, how long have you been podcasting?" Since October. Oh, that's nice. We've been doing it for like years now. And then listen to that, like, fucking hell, they're way better than us.
Yeah. So I highly recommend them. I listened to them all the way home. They're like 30 minutes or 40-minute episodes where they just chat about random subjects. Like I've listened to the latest ones about addiction. There's one about getting Oasis tickets. I just really enjoyed it. So I wanted to give them a shout out because they were just really nice to chat to. And if we weren't so bitter and frustrated at losing again, we would have stayed longer to talk to them. But instead, we went to Camden, where James tried to convince us that he wasn't drunk for a long time.
I was all right.
You were really drunk in the fucking ceremony, James, because you were just shouting shit out randomly. And I'm like, James, can you please keep it down?
It was only when they played some music and I was like, what? Like, I was aware that I said that.
We were doing that, and then every fucking nomination after hours was, and now it's time for educational sexual health. That could be us. I was like, James, shut the fuck up, man.
My favourite, I think he probably did it several times and it sort of wore off, but I only heard the first one was when someone went up to collect an award and James just went, "That'll be me when I go solo."
No, I only did that once.
I did that once. No, I heard that at least 4 times, James. But yeah,
And then there was the chips in McDonald's.
Didn't eat any. I didn't eat any chips.
No, I know, but that's what was so funny. So for those who are relatively new to the show, last year at the awards, there was this whole ordeal where we all went to Mackey's afterwards, and a very hammered James, who didn't buy any of his own chips, just started nicking everyone else's, right? So this year we got to McDonald's, right? James, you buying some chips? He's like, "No, I don't want. I don't even like chips." We're like, bullshit. Buy some fucking chips, or just fucking buy them. And he's like, "No, I don't want any." And and then we then turned into
everyone
trying to eat his
chips.
McRib. Yeah, and then Matt and Dave just constantly going like, "James, you want some chips?" James, these are the best chips I've ever had. You want to?
Have one chip.
Only because I was secretly filming him.
Come on, not so secretly. It was very obvious you were doing that.
Oh, Dave's feed's gone. Was that intentional, Dave?
Yes, I think it is.
Yeah, remember at the start of the show, I said my camera might go off a couple of times.
First time, I'm just checking it wasn't a technical mishap.
Well, look, I will. I'll get to that, Sean. I'll get to that. Right, okay. My next bit of feedback is
This is so funny.
James filming an intro video without even knowing what it's for is peak James. Edit, I thought it was, and then the bonus show happened, where James brought a spooky story to the bonus show, got one sentence in and went, can't read that, it's offensive, it's going to upset people.
But this is after he had already translated it. That's what I don't get.
I know, I just rethought it as I was beginning to speak, and then I was like...
Do you ever turn around to yourself, James, and go, it is always me, isn't it? I mean, that is meant.
I know. It didn't make it. It's just ridiculous. I know. I know. I'm a ridiculous
The thing with the
person.
recording the intro, James, is that Sean has said this for like months that he wanted to do it.
No, but
and
come
then
on,
and multiple times.
It's not just that.
when we're
Sean's
together.
always doing some new project or whatever. It could have been. It could have been anything. That's
Yeah,
why.
but he had mentioned it multiple times.
Name another
You
project.
just consented to it anyway.
Yeah,
which I appreciate as an act of, as trust.
Yeah.
But what
Name
made me
another
laugh
project.
Yeah, great question. What other projects is he on?
I know there's always like drone stuff going on, or there's
Is
like,
it always
No,
drone stuff?
there's only been
Or
one
was
drone
it
stuff,
like
and that
one?
was 2 years ago.
That
Yeah.
one time, yeah.
there's just stuff going on.
What made
There's
me
always
laugh?
drone
So,
stuff.
so there's like a sort of rough cut of the new intro. That's what this was all for.
Yeah.
And I sent it to like another group, and Gary was like, "Why does James just walk off?" And I'm like, "No, that was James literally leaving to catch his flight because he was going to leave." I'm like, "No, James, remember I have to film you before you go." And he's like, "Oh yeah, what do you want?" Yeah.
But he nailed it though. He fucking nailed it.
Oh, he did. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
the eyebrow.
Yeah.
It's good. Okay. Right. The next note here is Matt trying to step away from his Stadia hype is unreal. Matt, it was a joke about you getting a Stadia tattoo because you loved it so much. That was the joke.
I don't remember that. I think, was it all quite tongue in cheek? I think it must have been.
No,
I think
no,
it was
No, you were
a
you
wink and
kept
a
saying it's
nod to the listener. Like, hey, look, we're on this joke together.
Nah, you were pretty into it, Matt.
Oh, was I?
Yeah,
Okay,
so-
that's
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
It's funny. That.
Absolutely no way, Matt. You were saying it was a future. You were bigging it up. You had a pre-order for it, if I remember correctly, and it wasn't until there was something happened about 2 days before launch, and you went, "Oh no, actually, I'm going to cancel it now," and you cancelled it on the pod.
Oh my
don't
god, my
remember
memory is very bad. Okay,
Yeah,
that does
is
sound
it?
great
Is it?
content.
Or
to be
it's very good, and you're trying to change history. I think.
could be a little
the
bit both,
latter.
actually. I don't remember it.
Me saying Scotch instead of Scottish is a Stuart
Yeah.
Lee reference.
But that was
I
you
thought it
saying,
might
wasn't
have
it?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
wasn't-
yeah. I do it all the time. I do it all the time. Stuart Lee.
And yet I got blamed for it. Twat. No, no. Like the listener
Stuart
said,
Lee?
you know, the listener said, Matt saying Scotch. How dare you? I was like, facial, it's David.
Wild attack on the listeners. James said
saying.
that petty is a good word to describe me. Here are the 27 words I'd use to describe James. Starting with rude. Yeah.
You got one?
I've got 26.
Go on then.
Twat.
That's two.
Sorry, so Chris Pan's in the chat. So he listened to the episode the other day where Matt cancelled his Stadia pre-order. It's because he found out he wasn't getting it day one.
Oh,
That's a great reason to cancel it.
that's right. Cheers, Chris.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Day one
agree
or
with the
death.
listeners that said you shouldn't have left the off-air chatting. That should never have happened. And I'll be honest with you, I really wanted to say to Matt, no, take that out. But the way Matt worded it,
Oh, you
was
could have
so
done.
confident. No, because you went, I made a decision to leave the off-air chatting because, and I was like, I should have just gone, old David.
You
would have
should have
gone,
done
"Matt,
that."
Don't. It was awful. When I listened to it back, I was like, this is not good for anyone. I don't know why. Why did you leave it in?
I don't know. I just thought, well, it wasn't like there wasn't huge bouts of silence. I was like, we're just chatting along, and why not a little bit of off-air stuff and
Because
back
it's
into the main pod.
awful. It's awful. It was just like, look. Also, I know we think we're self-indulgent, right? We're not. Let's do a fake documentary about how the podcast existed indulgent, but we're a little bit self-indulgent, and that tops even us. Oh yeah, this cutaway shit where we're just babbling to fill time until Sean gets back. The listeners want to hear this. Do you know what I mean? No, they don't. We're never doing that again. Not on my watch.
Even the bits in between the Gotti show where James is drunk,
Okay, maybe those bits.
because you do keep them in.
That's not fair. You
Case
always
by
leave those
case.
in.
Case by case. Right. Okay. Now listen. It's very rare in my notes that I point a gun at Sean, but it's coming.
Yeah.
Sean, can we please have a rule where if someone steps away or their camera goes a bit nuts, that we just don't mention it ever, please?
Yes, I know.
I don't know why you do this, right? Because, just a couple of it. It's been going on for a
Because
while.
I'm paranoid that they've dropped from the call.
Okay,
the thing.
that's fine, but then we can deal with that afterwards, right? But like tonight, I said, just let you know, I might have to turn there's a pathway through to the toilet behind me, so I may have to turn my camera off every now and then. The first time I did it, 2 minutes into the show, you went, David's gone, and then we also have a situation where every now and then
dropped and we just ignore it. Everyone in the chat will be like, David's gone. David's got everyone. David's got.
Yeah,
Have you
but-
noticed? Have you not noticed?
No one cares about the chat. Sorry, chat. No one cares about the chat. The podcasters have got to listen to what's happened. What's Sean talking about now?
On last week, I put in like a chat here on things like how like if it drops out, don't worry, I'll be back in a sec. Is that Matt's gone? So, no, you don't need to say that.
No one
The other
looks
one.
at that.
The other one, you're right, no one looks at that. But the other one is when I go, like, if I have to nip to the toilet or do that. So sometimes it's instant. You go. Dave's gone there. I've got one wireless headphone, and I'm just going, Sean, just drop it. What was it last week? It was you even said this right at the start because your camera was going nuts last week, Matt.
Yeah.
And at the start, when it started going nuts, you went, "Oh, look, I know we said we'd not mention this, but Matt's camera's gone crazy." I was like,
It looked funny and it threw me off.
It did look funny actually last week. Yeah.
well, that's the new rule. So we keep going until someone puts a message in the WhatsApp group. Is that good? That's a good
WhatsApp
rule,
is
isn't
probably
it?
better. Yeah.
Okay, but other than that, look, I don't know what was going on. I thought it was a really good show last week. So keep up the doodling. Right, that's it for my feedback. Matt, what do the listeners think?
Yes, Eskiel feedback. I really enjoyed the relaxed tone on episode 425. Very little shouting in my ideas, friendly chatter, all good stuff. For stream ideas, I think taxes would be bad, Gunpla would be good, wanking would be illegal on Twitch, and cooking or baking hard to do with kids in the house, lots to consider. Here's a suggestion, although it's an ad, but we'll allow it. Suggestion, why not buy some Norwegian brown cheese from scandykitchen.co.uk and try a new cheese for once? We slice it with a cheese slicer. It's a razor on a stick. And put it on bread or our thin waffles. It's very caramelly. Caramelly.
What's a terrible piece of feedback?
James?
Hang on,
can we-
let's go to James first. You're gonna get involved.
I wouldn't mind. Yeah, I mean that.
There's a
cheese
brand
slicer
deal
thing,
waiting to be done here, surely.
We've got one of those cheese slicers already, like the razor on a stick. It's quite useful because it does it very finely.
Yeah, how much cheese? You've actually got one of those cheese slices at home.
I've got loads of those sorts of things.
Like you get in Tesco and that.
Yeah, because you have to like prepare it, don't you, in different ways.
What's
Razor-
your
isn't it razor on a
favourite
stick
cheese
system?
gadget?
Oh, go on.
Probably
many-
that actually, because I like how finely it like cuts the slices, so that they're just like really, really thin. It's really good.
You're on your own planet, mate. Honestly, I've got that. It's so fucking weird. I don't think I've ever liked anything quite as much as James likes cheese. Like it is, it's weird.
so
That's
good.
weird.
But I know, but it's so good. It's so good.
Okay, well you've got me there. Yeah, fair enough.
No,
depending
but it's
on
so
what.
it's like it's like every time you have a bit, it's like it's like melts in your mouth, and it's just like this is a little bit of heaven. Like
Okay, let's
you're
move
eating
on.
it.
This is a little bit of heaven. I see you sitting there,
Episode
butt
titles are just
naked.
racking up.
Yeah, you're butt naked on an armchair with like fucking cheese strings on you and just like blue.
No, not
Well,
cheese
they're butt
strings.
naked apart from like a
Not
kind of a
cheese
Hugh Hefner style smoking jacket.
Oh, cheese strings beneath you, is it?
No, they're all right.
Didn't have them at private school, did they?
They're all right as a push. I mean, I will eat them if
They're-
they're in the fridge, but I wouldn't usually choose
I'd
them.
eat them if they were in the fridge. If they,
If Chen's,
I
if
hate
Chen's
that
So
shit.
the
okay,
only requirement for you to eat them is that they are physically available.
if Chen has bought them for the kids' lunchbox, I will eat them. If they're
Yeah, but if they're for the kids
So you will deprive your children of them.
instead of the kids eating them,
because
I
they're
will eat
there.
them.
They did
I
the same
see.
to
I don't
me.
like cheese string, but if it's all that's in the fridge, I will cut it and snort it.
With my razor on
Wow.
a stick.
World hugging away. Matt, next bit of feedback, please.
Yes, Rogie. Hello, chaps. Hoping you're all well. Apologies in advance for the length of this, but I'm writing to express some love and support for Rocket Man 76 from episode 424, Rocky on the GameCube, who wrote about his kids flying the nest and how he is struggling. First of all, and I think I speak for a lot of listeners here when I say to Rocket Man, we're all here for you, mate, and if you ever need a chat, just drop a note on the Discord. Second of all, I come from a position where I've gone from a family of 6 to a family of 3 in the last 3 years as kids have left to do their own things. I've heard many episodes where you lovely fellas have talked about what you do and how, or what you will do and how unimaginable it will be Fucking
What a
hell,
lovely
again.
message from Rudgy there, and he's absolutely.
Well,
destroyed
yeah,
it,
I know.
isn't he, Rudgy?
I should probably pre-read these. I've heard many episodes where you lovely fellas have talked about what you were doing, how unimaginable it is to think of when your kids get older. So I wanted to tell you about my weekend before last. My son is now in a job placement and he's having a bit of a tough time. First job stuff, first time being away from home, etc., etc. He phoned me midweek and asked if he can come home for the weekend. Of course, I said. The house is always open for any of the kids who want to come home. I asked if he wanted to do anything this weekend. Can we just do some gaming, he said, and my heart leapt. The other half was away, so we spent the weekend playing Last of Us and Red Dead 2, passing the pad while chatting, snacking, drinking a couple of beers, and occasionally walking the dog and going outside. We had an absolutely awesome weekend, and my Sunday night, as he got in his car and drove away, we had chatted through a lot of his issues, a few of mine, and got 50% of the way through The Last of Us. Your experiences might be different to mine, but I just wanted to let you know that our relationship with gaming, as our relationship with our kids, never remains the same. It evolves constantly. My mum told me when we first had our son 20 years ago that you don't have children, they are only on loan. One day your kids will leave home and you hope that you've taught them enough, given them enough guidance to work out what is wrong and right, so they can go live happy and rewarding lives. At the very least, well done for getting them this far and not severely damaging them in any way. Kids leaving home is not the end, it's the start of the next chapter, but that next chapter can be a little scary and disconcerting at first. Love to all the mums, dads, and those peeps stepping into those mum and dad roles, the most difficult and rewarding game in the world. Love and hugs, everyone, and as always, thanks to the great pod every week, Rudgy.
Cool, Rudgy, you've got to play more modern games, mate. Last of Us and Red Dead. Holy fuck. And what are you doing playing Red Dead? You should be playing Astrobot VR, apparently, according to two idiots on this podcast. Do you know what line killed me there? Do you know what line killed me?
Go on.
You don't have children, they are only on loan.
Oh, yeah,
Fuck
yeah.
off. I'm not ready to hear that yet. I'm not ready to hear that yet.
I'll tell you what, it's something that I've been thinking about a lot more recently because like my
Yeah,
kids are
you're
getting older.
entering that. Yeah.
And it's like I've even been thinking like with Chen, I was just like saying, we could have another one maybe just to prolong
You've brought this up a few times.
Yeah. I've thought about it quite a lot, like the idea of prolonging it a bit.
Yeah, but what's Chen thinking?
She's not keen on the ideas.
James is also thinking, paid you off the podcast. So, lovely odd job.
But then also,
Because
I
like,
was just thinking...
Rachel's super independent as well, right? So she's gone as soon as she's 18.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, if you live with James, you'd be too. Sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, 16 out of all.
You might actually get to taste some cheese once in a while. Oh god, yeah, no, that really got me, that line. That's it. I'm going to hug the kids until they.
Really lovely message there. Thank you, Roger.
Yeah, really sweet. And the other thing is, the economy is so fucked that our kids probably will be at home a lot longer.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what Rachel said. She's like, I'm not moving out. So I'm not paying for anything.
You're like, well, we need that room for a nursery, so you better. Prudence has messaged. I've never been more excited when listening to a podcast. Matt was bleeped for saying he's too busy wanking. I'm not sure that was... James was asked by Sean to wank at the camera for a new TCGS splash screen, and Sean himself ended the show by mentioning the instant gratification of wanking. Sex, yes please.
That's an Ian Lee one, I reckon. That's an Ian Lee
I'm
one.
Assuming,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finally got him.
Yeah. Prudence, come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
I was far too amused by sex. Yes, please, as the sign off.
That's the episode title. So if we can have that.
Yeah.
Right, thanks. Is that it for the feedback?
It is, yeah. Go to tcgs.co/dear TCGS to leave your feedback.
Cool. James, I'm excited to hear the news.
Really? Okay.
No,
So
not really.
he's
Not really.
excited
Actually,
to read it out. So.
not really. Yeah, I can't wait for you to ask us if we want the quote again.
Actually, I've got quite a lengthy quote for the first one.
Oh, good.
Good.
But yeah, it's a
Don't want the
mashup quote as well. So
Don't want it. Don't want the
enjoy
quote.
that.
All right.
So Sony have shut down Neon Koi and Firewalk Studios. So Firewalk Studios was the one that was worked on Concord. Neon Koi were the one they were working on mobile games, but they hadn't actually released anything at this stage. And Herman Holst said that Sony had spent considerable time these past few months exploring all our options and determined the best path forward is to permanently sunset the game, this is Concord, and close the studio. And he also said that regarding Neon Koi and the the mobile studios, they said, we're still focused on mobile, but we ought to concentrate on titles that are in line with PlayStation Studios' pedigree and have the potential to reach more players globally. So Firewalk employed 51 to 200 people, according to LinkedIn, and Neon Koi 11 to 50. So that's quite a lot of people have potentially lost their jobs. Do you want to hear the full thing that he had to say about this?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Oh, no, thank you.
He said, I know none of this is easy news to hear, particularly with colleagues and friends departing SIE. Both decisions were given serious thought, and ultimately we feel they're the right ones to strengthen the organisation. Neon Koi and Firewalk were home to many talented individuals, and we will work to find placement for some of those impacted within our global community of studios where possible. While today is a difficult day, there is much to look forward to in the months ahead from the studio business group and our teams. I remain confident that we are building a resilient and capable organisation driven by creating unforgettable entertainment experiences for our players. I always think they shouldn't say that stuff at the end. Just being like, just...
Well, they need a positive line for the investors, don't they? That stuff is often crowbarred in.
It just sounds a bit hollow, doesn't it?
Do they need a positive line for the investors?
Yeah, I think they need something to say. It's not doom and gloom. It's look.
But the positive news for the investors is they're cutting costs. That's what the thing is. So
they're trying to end it on a positive.
Send a different message to the investors. Yeah. Don't bundle.
Well, no, but this will just be like the public statement that I have to give, so this goes out everywhere. I mean, I'm sure they will give a different message to the investors in like board calls.
Do you not think that they should not is it not part of you that thinks actually morally rolling that bit in at the end actually cheapens it?
I don't necessarily agree with it. I'm just telling you why it probably happens.
I just don't think it needs to be done. I think I'm with you, Matt. Usually you go, it's the investors read it, but thinking just now, what negative effects would happen if they didn't include that last bit? It's not like their fucking shares will plummet, is it? It's just
I don't know. They're trying to end on an uptick, but yeah, it does seem hollow. And also, I mean, that line wasn't as bad for me as the one saying there's much to look forward to in the months ahead. Well, mate, I just lost my job. I don't really give a fuck about the months ahead. But hey, whatever.
What a fucking wild game that has been, and what a story!
It's crazy,
Concord is. There was nothing wrong with the game.
Yeah, it's
the game played well. It was
apparently totally fine game.
But that investment just gone. That's done. See you later. Line drawn under that. Shit.
You just think of all the how long was it? Wasn't it in development for 8 years?
It was many years, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then also the rumors are that they spent 200 million on it as well. On this studio and developing it and everything.
And they paid to buy the license or the IP, whatever it was. But
you're just thinking that is crazy. The amount, also just the amount of talent here that is being squandered. Just by these, because clearly, as you said, David, this wasn't a bad game. Really, it just didn't hit for whatever reason.
Well, because it was if you're saying it's 8 years in development, I would say probably when Overwatch was massive, this was in development. You know what I mean? And the industry at least the audience moved on or stayed with Overwatch and didn't want to move off of that. So it's really tough. Honestly, from the moment we saw this, we felt that it was going to fail. I didn't expect it to be this bad, and for them to then shut the studio and. Yeah, it's no good, is it?
I know we didn't report on it because I figured it probably didn't mean anything, and it turns out that was correct. But people have been saying apparently the Steam version was getting updates and stuff was changing, so people were like, "Oh shit, maybe they are tinkering with it. They're trying stuff." Mm-hmm. But yeah, apparently not.
It's weird. It's weird that they can't clearly that the team can make a good game, right?
Yeah.
What hits you the most is that they haven't gone to the person that decided this should be an Overwatch style hero shooter, and leading in that direction. They're the ones that have failed, not the people.
Oh yeah, that might have come. That might be Jim Ryan or someone, mightn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's like we were saying last week on Prince of Persia, wasn't it? If the team made a good game, if it's other factors that meant it failed, and yet it's still the devs that suffer for it.
Yeah. And if Sony are indeed still serious about live service games, can a lot of these people just be moved over to another part of the business, potentially working in, I don't know, on that stuff. Yeah, it's wild.
Go on. Sorry, Matt.
There you go.
No, I was going to say, or could they not have if the live service thing was not going to hit, could they not have pivoted to something else within that studio that was maybe reusing assets or something like that, and just get something else out instead? That would have been different. I don't know.
Yeah,
I assume they thought the brand was broken by that point, and they're probably right. Actually, they're probably right.
I don't know.
You look at what happened with Anthem.
I know what you mean, because there was a stink around the name and everything, but also people do really love a comeback story, and they do, those do exist.
They do, but they're rare, and they take a hell of a lot of money. I would assume, and I could be wrong, but more money was spent on No Man's Sky since it launched than pre-launch.
Oh god, yeah.
And there's a hell of a lot of money to turn that series around.
But also, wasn't that quite a small team, No Man's Sky?
It was a very small team, yeah.
That was it was very small. I don't know. It's just one of those horrible stories that we'll remember. But the difference between this and say Battleborn or Anthem is that the game itself was decent.
And you can still play those, right? In some form.
Yeah,
I think technically Anthem's still online.
Yeah, I think so.
But the fact that Concord is just gone, and there's presumably not even any chance of people making their own servers and stuff, which you sometimes see with on PC. Sometimes people mod the game to run games like City of Heroes, Fantasy Star Online, stuff like that. They were shut down, but you can still play them because the fans run their own servers, which is amazing. But I guess I'm assuming that's not even an option with Concord now.
It's like what happened to was it Lawgivers and Radical Heights and all those sorts of things where they were just gone.
Lawbreakers, yeah.
Lawbreakers, that's it. Lawbreakers, yeah.
The Radical Heights. You always go back to that. That's touchstone for you.
I know.
I always think about that image where it looked like it said "radical shites."
Yeah.
It's just unfair.
I'm trying to think. The voice actor that was in Concord, that videoed herself going and buying the game and getting all excited.
Yeah.
I'm in this game. What was worse for that video for her? The fact that the Concord got cancelled soon afterwards and now it's been wiped from existence, or the guy that was trying to act all cool in front of her, when she was that still makes me cringe so much. So basically, if you've not seen it, the voice actor goes and buys this copy of the game, and she goes, "Oh look, that's me, that's my character. I'm in this game." And there's this guy sort of leaning on the bar, going, "Hey, you're the second person that I know that's in a game. The other person was in GTA 6. Have you heard of that game?" And I'm like, "Oh God, hey, wow!" He gets that, and I was like, I could feel my face just imploded and just going, "You're ruining her moment here." Seek it out. It's a good video.
I forget what it was. So when the game first got, taken down and everything, someone posted. I think it's there's map music or some of the menu music, basically just saying "Look, I know the game's gone, whatever, but fucking hell, you should hear this soundtrack." And yeah, it was really, really nice. Reminded me a bit of the Mass Effect map music.
Oh, really?
Sort of vibes, and it was just really cool. And it was oh my god, if this wasn't on, someone hadn't put this on YouTube, that'd be it. Gone. Just fucking mad.
Yeah, you can make a great game, and it looked good. It had all the extra money on the narrative, kind of really impressive CGI pieces. But even with all that and all the might of Sony, some games just don't do anything.
Well, speaking of CGI, what's happening to the episode of the TV show?
Well, it's still happening as far as we're aware, right?
It must be still happening. Yeah, they can't be.
Which is
feel weird.
I mean, that's gonna be ridiculous.
It's like Amazon get a cease and desist order from Sony.
Can you imagine if it's the best?
I know, Amazon's they should make a game out of this.
It gets massive. Yeah. Or they do I won't say what series it is, but where it just cuts short. And then there's 10 minutes of black screen at the end of the episode. No, that's tasteless, isn't it?
The thing about Neon Koi is that, we never actually saw what they were working on. And then for the comment to be about the fact that they're kind of working, your concentrating titles are more in line with, PlayStation Studio pedigree. So, I mean, we can only speculate, but so obviously they were contracted to make something, but then Sony probably thought, it's just not good enough, and
I know they kind of threw him under the bus with this, didn't they?
Yeah.
Saying this is basically not good enough or whatever. It's very strange.
Yeah, I mean, if it remains a priority growth area, and they were impressed with it, and they were happy with the team's work, then again, why not move them on? But they really just feel look, it's just not up to our normal standards. So you got to go. It's brutal.
I mean, Sony's whole mobile strategy seems kind of non-existent I can't think of any Sony. I mean, there's Destiny, right?
Well, yeah, but then that's a NetEase game. I guess it's a Sony owned IP, but they're kind of quite separate from that, aren't they? So, yeah, what is their mobile strategy?
Shutting down studios.
I mean, the apps, the PlayStation app, I hate as well. I hate the UI on it. I'm not sure if any of you like. Well, I know you don't use it much, Sean, but it's like
it's annoying. Yeah,
it's like they add that arrows at the bottom. Just make it like, oh no.
Yeah, it's got that whole slide thing, and then suddenly you're in a separate app. Like, you could slide down from the top, or you could scroll down the bottom. Yeah, it's a mess of an app. You're absolutely right.
Fix that, if anything.
All right, fucking hell.
I will. Okay.
Anyway, speaking of mobile apps,
I've not heard a transition like that since the 90s, James.
That was fantastic.
Anyway, that was about as Chandler Bing as it gets.
It's quite pleased with that. So Nintendo have released a music app that requires a Nintendo Online subscription to access.
Oh, I'm excited to talk about this.
This is what Nintendo
Why are you
have to
excited
say.
to talk about it?
Because of you and your views.
I reacted.
No, let's hear the story first.
Can we? Yeah, let's just.
Let's go.
So kick back and enjoy some Nintendo tunes with Nintendo Music, the exclusive smart device app for Nintendo Switch Online members that lets you stream or download Nintendo soundtracks, create and share playlists, browse music by different categories, and more. And so that's the sort of the tagline for the whole thing. And you can. I mean, also the other thing about it is that some tracks you can extend for up to 60 minutes as well. And there's a free trial for the app, and they've just added Super Mario Wonder to the list. So I mean, at the moment, I wouldn't say it's bare bones, but there's not a lot
not
on
loads
there.
on there, is it? Yeah,
No.
because
I mean,
I was
some
all
good ones.
excited when I saw that like Splatoon stuff was on there, but it's just Splatoon 3.
Yeah,
it's not 1 or 2.
I mean, they've got the Wii Shop music, which is all you really need.
The 10-hour mix, or
oh yeah,
you can extend it. I think.
I think you do up to an hour, right?
Yeah.
So
it's this is interesting. It's an interesting
I had a weird reaction to this. So when they announced it, or when I first heard about it, it was like, firstly, you wonder how, because Nintendo are fucking terrible at dealing with this stuff,
they
right?
can't do anything normally, can they?
No, they can't. Well, but not even that. It would be the laziest thing where they say, right, we're monetizing our OSTs now, like our music now, right? So wipe everything off of YouTube. And I've not heard any reports that they've done that wholesale. So people that
I don't think they will. I don't think that's the thing.
But that's the easiest way they can do it, right? That's the easiest way they can do it. They can upload the algorithm that picks up on what the music is from their library,
you'll
and it can wipe it.
But that will kill everyone who's put gameplay footage up as well.
Totally.
Which
they
will
not do
because they've already
okay,
done that
but they've
before.
done it in the past.
Yeah, and
they
had a massive backlash.
Okay. They have done it in the past though, so that was my initial reaction. I was like, because Nintendo won't go, right, okay, let's set up a system where we're only attacking people that are wholesale ripping out audios and putting it on YouTube. Let's just focus on that. They'll be like, pay a media company to wipe the thing, and it will be ham-fisted. That doesn't seem to be the case. So maybe that fear was unfounded, right? Secondly, I don't know, there's part of it that was kind of like, I guess the idea, right, was that I used to play soundtracks to video games, Nintendo games, all the time for my kids, and it was usually through YouTube and finding these YouTube channels that had, as you rightly said, illegally uploaded the OSTs, technically illegally uploaded the soundtracks to these games and put them on YouTube. And I would play that for my kids, and it just felt like a celebration of Nintendo. And then it just feels like, when I first heard this, I was like, oh, putting a little fence around it makes me feel like a little bit like, if they were to go,
fence is like 3 centimeters high, and you're already inside it.
Well, no, so asking for pay. But it's not. I'm not talking about me myself. Yeah. I'm talking about the concept of saying, yeah, you can listen to the soundtrack of our music, but you have to pay for it, which is what Nintendo are doing here. Regardless of whether
I don't understand though why that's different for a video game soundtrack compared with regular music or a movie soundtrack. Or
no. So regular music, I think it's very different to regular music.
Why?
Because you're still paying for art other people produce that need paying.
Okay, hold on. Can I answer?
No, you fucking can't.
When it comes to an album, there's an artist creating an album to be listened to as music, right? Mm-hmm. These soundtracks are made to be played over a video game, and it feels like kind of that's part of the celebration of that game and you getting involved in that world. And it's not primarily, they don't release these right. If there was no games, they wouldn't be releasing this music, right or wrong?
Right.
So what I'm saying is the primary source of media that you're purchasing is the game itself. And there's part of me that kind of thinks that getting involved in the soundtrack is you're not listening to that because it's good music. You're listening to that because you're connected with the franchise that it's selling you and the games that you're playing. And for me, that's slightly different. It does feel slightly different. And so, you can agree with that or not, but that was my initial reaction to it. And I'm not saying that I'm right and you're wrong, but my initial reaction to it was like, oh, that's a shame. That is a shame that they're putting a fence around that now. Whereas before, it felt like, no, you're in our world and you want to experience that music. That's fine. And if they'd have said, look, we have a problem with people taking our music and illegally uploading it to YouTube, like, I get that. But if they were to then say, so we're creating a YouTube channel with all our soundtracks on it and it'll all be funneled through there, then I think that sounds nicer than saying we're creating an app and you have to subscribe to listen to our music. That was the reaction I had to it.
But they haven't said that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but also, like, I think it's very different. Like, it's not like they're asking for a new subscription for it. I think it's very different when they're saying, look, it's part of the subscription you've probably already got anyway.
Right, but that's easy to say. That's easy to say if you've got it. But like that just it's like saying, you know, games on Game Pass are free and stuff like that, and you go, yeah, well, I'm used to paying that subscription now. That's fine, but I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to pay for a Nintendo Online subscription for me, and then my kids, and then do you know what I mean? It's like it feels that it's kind of.
To be fair, Dave, you're not paying for one at all at the moment, are you?
But this is it though. This is it though, Sean. This is it. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant what I'm thinking. For some reason, you seem to think that, well, I subscribe, so it's fine. But it's not. It's the concept No, hold on. Let me finish. It's the concept of taking their music and saying you need to subscribe to listen to it. And look, I know there's been tons of arguments against what I'm saying, and I totally understand them. But all I can say is that it just feels a little bit like, oh, Nintendo are saying, yeah, well, you could play our games, you could buy our games, and all this sort of stuff. But if you want to listen to the music out and about, you have to also subscribe to our thing. And it just feels odd to me. It feels like a little bit negative and a little bit like, how can we monetize this music? Okay. Which I understand that they'll want to do.
Yeah, because people created
totally
it.
Get that they want to do.
But
it just feels a bit off to me. That's my view on it.
But what if they did, as other publishers have done, like Sega, Square Enix, all those sorts of things? They put all their music on Spotify and Apple Music. Like, you can listen to it on that, which is also through a subscription service. So they're getting paid through that. They could also do the YouTube thing of just shutting down any like OSTs that are on that. Is that different if it goes onto a music service as opposed to a separate app?
See, technically no, right? Because they're still trying to monetize it. And in fact, actually, it's probably worse because they're earning even less from it, right? Because we all know what Spotify's like. I don't know. It just kind of feels like the product that you're selling is this game and people love it. And if they want to sort of celebrate that outside of the game, then that should be encouraged rather than monetized. That's my view. I think that's my view. And I'm not arguing against the stuff you're saying. Like, I do get it. They own the music. They've got every right to like for example, like the Scientologist is saying downloading our app isn't exactly hard work. No, it's not downloading the app. It's the fact that it's bundled in with a subscription service. And it's easy to say, well, we've already got it, or, you're part of James's family, so you get it and stuff like that. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But it's not necessarily me personally, it's the concept of what they're doing that I had a negative reaction to it. Since listening to you guys, I've probably called on it a little bit. But there is part of me that's kind of like, really? Do you need to do this? Do you need to do this? What difference is it if that app was free, if it wasn't subscribed to the subscription thing? Do you think people are subscribing to this just for this app.
No, it's just an extra benefit.
Yeah, I think.
So why not make it free and have it? That makes so much more sense to me. Here's a free app. Celebrate our music. Celebrate our world. Celebrate our games. Right? You can load it onto your kids' iPhones. You can load it onto your kids' tablets or whatever. Everyone's got access to our music. We're selling games, not music, and that to me just feels better placed than putting it behind the subscription service.
See, that's the thing that I find I disagree on in the sense of the value of the music and the music being like an add-on to a game rather than being something which has value separately by itself and doesn't need to have I don't think a lot of these soundtracks need to have the relation to the game to be something which have value and to be good.
No, absolutely not. You're totally right. You're totally right.
And I think
they can be enjoyed individually, right?
Yeah. And the act of producing a soundtrack for a game and then producing it as an album, that is a separate task and often involves like a lot of different processes, and especially with video game music, which is often designed
companies,
like video game music is often designed to, it might be sort of semi-reactive to what's going on in the game, or it might loop or whatever. So someone's got to work out like, well, hang on, how long should this track be? Do we need to write an end and a beginning for it, and do we need to, sort all that stuff out?
Sure,
so there's other processes there, and I think
Nintendo are not an indie development studio that's trying to release their album on a vinyl. This is it. I would have hoped that Nintendo saw the value in. Hold on, I would have hoped that Nintendo saw the value of open access to their music. Controlling that makes sense to me. Controlling it makes sense. If there's people going up and uploading it and earning a lot of money from YouTube by uploading their music, which they could demonetize and do all sorts of things to. But regardless, controlling it makes sense. Putting it in with a subscription service feels just wrong to me. It just feels like fundamentally wrong to me.
So it would also feel wrong if it was on Apple Music and Spotify instead.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think so. If they cut it out and the only way you could listen to it is on Apple Podcast or Spotify, yeah, I think it would feel wrong to me. But I just imagine that if they announced, we've got this music app, all our soundtracks going on there, it's available to everyone. And that I don't
know anyone who cares enough who doesn't already have a Nintendo Online subscription.
Okay, so all right, so Harry, for example,
right.
he would love that, and he hasn't got Nintendo Online.
Yeah,
Charlie,
but the reason he hasn't is because you're just on James's family account.
Right, so I would then have to come off, subscribe with a family thing.
I've got some
which
spare
sort
slots
of should do
anyway.
What I don't understand it was, but then isn't that part of the problem again? That again, it's taken away the idea of like it's putting a fence up, it's putting a paywall behind their music. That was my initial point in the first place.
The problem at all.
Okay, well, I've explained it the best that I can. I mean, if you don't get it, you don't get it.
But did you feel the same about movie soundtracks?
Like recently, like Isaac decided he wanted his own Switch profile, right? I was like, and again, I'm not judging anyone who's on like a mate's family account or whatever, because we've all done it. I was on Cammy's for ages. But I'm not going to kick off and be like, oh, this is ridiculous. Now I've got to pay up because Isaac wants his own account. That's like,
but that's not what I'm saying.
I'm supposed to have my own account anyway.
That's a bit different because I haven't kicked off and gone, this is ridiculous. Okay. I'm saying it feels wrong. I'm saying the concept feels wrong to me. And maybe I am on my own here, but that was the reaction I got. I just kind of thought it was a bit sad that we're at a point now where Nintendo have to put their music behind a paywall. And it kind of makes me feel, do you really need to do that? Is that what you really need to do?
I feel like that paywall is so arbitrary though.
But it's not arbitrary. It's a subscription
It's so
service.
cheap, and you like I say, if you're a Nintendo fan, you've probably already got it anyway. It's just a value add. I don't.
But also, they haven't taken down all that stuff from YouTube either.
Yeah,
like that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
They haven't started deleting all the soundtracks and stuff that are on YouTube.
Have they not? Because I thought that was what that video was about.
I don't think they've wiped.
We got sent a video where they said, "What's your favourite soundtrack?" and all of it was been taken down. That was the video that Sarah sent us in the week. I just assumed that had been the case. I'll be honest, I hadn't checked myself, but that is what that video seemed to imply. But I don't know. Look, I mean, I'm here to just give my opinions. I think to turn around and say, Oh, it's a small paywall, so it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. It's still a paywall. Like that's what
But
they're
it's a
doing. With
paywall
it.
you've already crossed for something else that's way more valuable than you've probably already got anyway.
Yeah, I
That's
don't know.
what
I
I-
just
I've just
don't
had a
agree.
look
I don't think the answer is you're already subscribed on James' thing, so it doesn't matter. Like that's not what I'm arguing for. What I'm arguing for is that it's the concept itself, not my financial position and how much I'm willing to pay for this sort of stuff. It's just the concept itself that I just kind of think, you know, look. One of the things Nintendo have always stuck by is holding value of things, right? So this is no different to their usual approach.
Yeah, but this is
stuff.
not just Nintendo. Like all of the companies are doing this, David. It's like Sega, Square Enix, all those companies like Capcom. They're all on Spotify and Apple Music. Like all their soundtracks, they put all that stuff on there.
Well,
So
yeah, but
presumably
then,
make
and then
money
some
from.
others will be like, well, no, we're not putting them on Spotify because it's a fucking joke. You buy it on CD or digital download or vinyl or whatever.
Right, okay, but we're not
Also-
talking about that now, are we?
Hang on,
We're
hang on,
talking about Nintendo. If we
I
were
know.
to go into
No, that's what I'm
individual...
saying. But Nintendo's offer is relatively good value for money, I would say.
Okay.
Given all the soundtracks
So,
it
can I-
connects to.
Can I?
It's the
sorry.
concept itself that I just
Yeah,
kind of
well, what did you
not
want, James?
upset with. Just disappointing. I just find it disappointing. It's
The
kind of
stuff
like,
is
okay.
still on YouTube. I just checked. Like, just type in Breath of the Wild soundtrack.
Okay, cool.
All there.
Well, then why are they even doing it? But okay, fine. So if all that stuff was there, my understanding was that they were taking it all down, and that's what that video was showing.
No, but
with all
that's
these things being
just like
done
a
for
joke, isn't
copyright.
it? It's like for clicks.
Okay.
I really
I don't
like
know.
the looping thing. I think it's been really well implemented because it's not just literally like, oh, it'll just play the track from the start and you don't have to restart it. It's quite intelligently done. So like, there's a track on Yoshi's Island, which does like the little intro, not the intro cutscene, but the one before you start the first level. And there's like a little sort of 10-15 second bit where it sort of builds up, and then there's a bit that loops. If you set the track to loop, it doesn't repeat that first bit. Like, it knows that's just the intro bit, and then it just loops the bit that is supposed to loop. So it's not just like they've taken, all right, well, here's the file, and if they ask it to loop, then just repeat that one file. Like, there are different files involved, and they've been assembled in different ways, which I think is quite nicely done. I don't mind it at all. Like, me and Isaac have had a really nice time listening to Splatoon 3 music in the car, which has been cool.
You want to buy the £100 clock for that? If you want a real experience,
He's asked
Sean.
for it, and I told you, didn't I? I said, like, well, if we lived in a world where you needed an alarm clock, Isaac.
What do you say to that? I do, kind of.
I don't know what your problem is. I like it.
And that was Nintendo Music. Didn't get a quote.
No, there was a quote, but it was a marketing quote, so less exciting.
I mean, they're all putting quotes.
Yeah, but to varying degrees of quality. Anyway, do you want to hear about Black Ops 6?
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
it set a record for Game Pass subscriber add-ons on launch day. So says
Ads. Yeah.
that's a fucking awful way to write that sentence.
It's
terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is called. So Satya Nadella has said that this is the biggest launch of a COD game so far. They said it's generated the largest number of new Game Pass subscriptions, and the opening weekend numbers saw physical sales. So physical sales in the UK dropped by 10% compared with Modern Warfare 3. But then obviously the speculation is this is because of Game Pass.
Speculation. I was expecting more than that.
Yeah,
because most releases these days is like 50% down on the previous version, so 10% is actually really good.
It's probably because it only affects Xbox sales, isn't it?
What's interesting about this is, I mean, the last game that broke records for Game Pass was Starfield, but also Microsoft won't release any figures as to what these numbers are of like the increase. But they did have their recent financial earnings, and they've seen there's been big gains in gaming revenue, which has been up 43% year on year. But hardware revenue is down again 29% year on year. So they're not selling Xboxes, but the games division is still doing quite well.
The big services revenue, is that increased because, wasn't Game Pass prices increased?
No, it's because of Activision. It's because of buying Activision.
But also, I mean, they increase the price of Game Pass and services are doing well. That's probably a big thing.
You'd be mad to think that this past couple of weeks hasn't had a big impact on Game Pass, right? Like it must have.
Yeah,
it must have.
There must have been an uptick.
There must have been a huge uptick, even if it's just for a month.
Yeah,
like
probably record-breaking uptick. I'm going to guess. Yeah.
COD is unbelievable. And it's such a juggernaut, and to have that on your subscription service like that is nuts.
But also,
day one,
the number of it's also attracted the highest number of PC players in the franchise's history, and also sales on PlayStation and Steam have been up 60% like year on year as well, which is quite a lot.
Well, we can explain why that might be in the What You've Been Playing segment, because I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty Black Ops 6.
It's interesting though, because I know Chris String from GamesIndustry.biz has always talked about the fact that for a long time now, the actual size of the audience for Call of Duty has, like, it stagnated a long time ago, or plateaued a long time ago. But it was the fact that the stuff they were adding in terms of DLC, skins, etc., that's why it was making more and more money, because they were just better at monetizing each of those players. But you do wonder if it being on Game Pass is now actually growing the audience. I'm playing it for the first time in years.
Yeah, 100% is growing the audience.
Yeah,
definitely, because anybody that's got Game Pass is going to play it, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're going to give it a go. Let's see what
and I'm doing all right. Which means there's loads of like 10-year-olds playing.
Well, well, the last time you played Call of Duty, there wasn't as many use of the bots, was there? Like I don't know. I this is what it's all about. I don't think it's going to save Xbox and their direction where they're going. I don't think this is going to save the concept of Game Pass and turn it into something new. But I think this has been a big few weeks for them.
I'll tell you what I do find interesting at the moment is that all of these statements now keep coming out from Satya Nadella rather than Phil Spencer. It's like it's all weird, and which is interesting.
Well, I guess because his quotes were linked with their financials rather than Xbox specifically, weren't they?
He usually has a lot to say, and he's not said so much recently.
What are you suggesting, James?
For a while now.
I'm suggesting he's been sidelined like quite a lot.
Sidelined?
Yeah. That's what I'm suggesting. Yeah. Because I think these results, I think, really indicate that. Also, when they're talking about this all the time, that they really are going to be moving more and more towards this like multi-format releases in the future. That's where it's going. That's what I think.
Yeah. Right. Do you not need a Phil for that? I mean, Satya Nadella is not going to be controlling all the multi-platform releases. He'll certainly make the quotes and talk about it when he's asked like big financial,
I think you need a Phil, but you don't need a Phil to keep saying things that then cause problems further down.
Well, I think Phil probably still doing his work just a little bit quieter.
Anyway, should we move on? Please. Also, some other news that happened this week was that PlayStation's Wolverine director has now moved over to Perfect Dark. So this is Brian Horton, and he was the creative director of Wolverine, and now he's left the studio in the summer. He worked on Miles Morales and Rise of the Tomb Raider, and I think he was previously with Crystal Dynamics, so he's moved back with them for working on Perfect Dark. And Wolverine is now being run by the people that worked. It's Marcus Smith and Mike Daly who worked on Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. They're now going to be running Wolverine instead.
I mean, just not moving from PlayStation to Xbox. Best career choice. Who knows? But yeah, I was thinking about Wolverine the other day. We've not really seen anything of that.
No,
have we?
We've seen very little.
Have we still just seen that CGI trailer where it's in the bar?
That's it. Yeah.
And then obviously there was the leak, but it's.
No, I didn't watch really that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, even if you wanted to, you can't really learn anything from stuff.
It's interesting they're going with the Ratchet and Clank director. I mean, just from the outside, you kind of want someone who worked on the Spider-Man games, because I got the impression this was going to be similar-ish. But hey, I'm still excited for that game.
What, Wolverine?
Yeah. Well, I'm just interested to see what another big budget Marvel game is like on PlayStation.
There's part of me that's going, I reckon this might be a stinker already. There's just a few. When you get a feeling. And last time I had this feeling, it was before Cyberpunk launched, right? There's just something about it that makes you go, Hold on. It's when they go quiet.
And then when it happens, you feel bad because you feel like you fucking manifested it, don't you?
No, I feel great because I'm like, I am the fucking king of the world.
But you see, I get the same feeling with Perfect Dark, honestly, because I look at that and I just think...
But that was a great showing.
I know
they did have a good showing.
They showed a CGI trailer, and it's like...
They showed gameplay. I mean, it was fake gameplay probably, but
exactly.
It was gameplay, it was concept.
The fact that like at this stage they've got a new creative director, it's like this starts to sound a bit...
Oh, this happens all the fucking time, though. It happens all the time.
I know.
We hear stories
last time
about
it happened was like 343 Industries with Halo Infinite, where it was like they just kept rapidly going through new people all the time, and then there's I don't know. We'll see how it seems like it's had an interesting development, shall we say, like Perfect Dark. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, what's going to be better, James? Perfect Dark or Wolverine?
I have no idea. See, I just think Wolverine's going to be more of the same. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be anything that's going to be particularly.
But
exciting.
more the same. It's still like a 9 out of 10.
value.
High production value. Fantastic. Yeah. If you think about Spider-Man,
I don't think it'll be a 9 out of 10.
No, but then you see, Perfect Dark. I reckon is going to have a lot of really good ideas, and it's going to be really interesting. But I reckon it's going to be a bit of a mess.
Listen, Matt, you can't suggest a bet until you've got that fucking tattoo.
I want a tattoo. We have to get.
I want it. I just haven't mentioned anything to the tattoo artist or anyone else.
Well, no, because I need to change the design. Actually,
do you know? I would probably bet that Wolverine's going to get a higher Metacritic score than Perfect Dark, but I'm not taking a tattoo bet.
Yeah, but I think that's the safer bet. Yeah, I think that's probably the safer bet.
Okay, no, that's a great bet, actually, James. Let's. What's the bet?
No, you got to have that tattoo on your ass before you take another bet, boy.
I'm going to take another bet while the tattoo is being administered.
Okay.
Anyway,
next news story.
Yeah. So, do you want to hear about Ubisoft's NFT game?
Don't to hear about him playing all weekend. But go on then.
So this is a game that came out. It's called Champion Tactics Grimoire Chronicles, and it's out for PC. And so the whole thing was, so the game's like Web3 functionality was that you get characters and these function as NFTs, and then they can be purchased with in-game or cryptocurrency. So this was part of Ubisoft's whole thing where they were like going, we're going to do NFT games, we're going to do crypto stuff and all that. This has been the fruits of it. Unfortunately, though, it seems there's a bit of a problem with it because it's not possible to win. Because when you start a competitive game, you are matched with a player that's called Shilia 1-1 or Polestar 1-1-1, who then automatically wins the game. And then it turns out that this character called Polestar 1-1-1, his account is top of the rankings with 56,000 matches played, and it's not clear like how this player has been able to connect to so many games and automatically win them. And so a moderator on the game's Discord server like posted on Saturday that the team is aware of this error and that they banned the player and they were hoping to fix it like quite soon. But people are still reporting that they're being matched with this player. Oh,
please say Polestar 112.
But yeah, it's just kind of crazy. Like the whole thing just doesn't work. It's like broken. There's loads of comments from people saying like, how did this get through? Like, QA or whatever.
How did Polestar get through?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are they up to? And why do they want to play 56,000 matches? It's like
Well, I assume are they making money? Like, are they playing with NFTs and winning and then selling NFTs?
Is this like a money making thing, or are they just enjoying being disruptive? I don't know.
It might be that. I mean,
I was thinking that because like playing COD, and I can't verify this, but playing COD over the weekend, there was a few moments where I'm like, that person's cheating, or even if you forget the cheating, you got people that still camp in COD, like still sit in a corner of a room, and every time someone walks through a door, just shoots it, and you go, what are you getting out of this, mate? I don't. What are you getting out of this? Like, what is? I could just sit here and just hit the shoot button at the dot. Like, I mean, each to their own, I guess. But fucking hell, man, what is going on with your time there? I want to just take it to one side and go, what? Do something else.
But people have been camping forever.
This isn't new. But like, even now, it's kind of like, what are you actually doing here? Like, what satisfaction are you getting? And I guess part of it is just people like to be as disruptive and annoying as possible.
They want to get a nuke or whatever the kill streak or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, I bet
It is bonkers.
Not a big COD fan, Matt.
Well, I don't know. No, is it not like do you not play enough and then like get like a nuke and stuff?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, Modern Warfare 1 or whatever it was.
15 years
You
ago.
might still have a nuke. Oh, we're gonna get some feedback.
Oh, I think you
The
do.
nuke
I
is
swear I
still-
saw on Instagram recently about like
Can
quickest
you
nuke
get
ever, and they got it in like, yeah, you can still get it. Up yours.
You still find him.
You can.
All right, fair enough.
But
Go
yeah,
on.
that's pretty much it. That's the end of the news.
And you weren't tempted to play that game, Sean. It was on PC only. You weren't.
It's just not come up on my radar, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. Are we talking to
You love
Polestar?
NFTs.
Are you Polestar?
I thought, do you know what? I wasn't listening for a second then. Yeah, you can still get it. You need to get 30 kills in a row. So I'll take that back, Matt. I apologise. Also, when I was
you.
reading that, I wasn't really listening, and I thought you said to Sean, "Are you a porn star?" And I was sick in my mouth a little bit.
That's what the low flying zip was.
Is that it? Is that it for the what?
Just
What?
getting his knob out.
That's what the low fly zip was.
Yes.
I apologise then because
At the Independent
I was like,
Podcast
I'm gonna-
Awards.
Okay,
We talked about it earlier.
David, it was a quip.
It was a quick.
it wasn't a very good
You need
one.
to,
Sort of
Dave. I know you've had a
relies on
week
you
off.
to-
We really gotta
Yeah,
speed it up. This is
requires
come on.
The audience to fill in a few blanks.
Yeah, I mean, there's a massive gap there. Zip open, get knob out, porn start. There's quite a leap for that one.
They've got to get on my level. Look, I've tried to help them.
That's about
Look.
8 stepping stones there to get
Well,
to the
if
point.
they had the same brain as me, they're like, that is brilliant.
Mate, if they've got the same brains as you, I just don't want them listening.
If you've
I'm
got the same
honest.
brain as me, please get in contact. I've got some words.
I want it back.
I want to talk to you. How do you do it?
Is that it for the news, James?
That is it for the news. Yeah.
All right, let's get to what you've been playing. Big release this week. Sean's been playing it.
Hello.
I've seen him on my friends list.
Yeah, mate.
Plugging away at Dragon Age. The Veilguard?
The Veilguard. Yeah.
All right, let's hear it.
Guardian-
You're a big Dragon
Guardian
Age
Veilguard.
fan, right?
I wouldn't say I'm a big. Well, it's one of those, right, where it's
I
like
get this so mixed up. What was the one that you thought ends, but then there's a big thing afterwards that you loved?
That's Dragon's Dogma.
Right, okay, so fucking... Can we have new titles, please?
This is like Dragon Age, right? Like, yeah, if you ask me, oh, you're a big fan of Dragon Age? Oh, well, I think it's pretty good. But actually, oh yeah, I've played all of them, and if you ask me any question about it, I'll be like, oh yeah, no, I can answer that. So probably yes, I am a big fan. Obviously, what's interesting about this one is, A, it's a BioWare game. Remember them? B, it's been 10 years since the last Dragon Age game, and obviously they were, so there was Dragon Age 1 and 2, and then Dragon Age Inquisition, and they were working up like a whole, like, oh, your decisions matter, it's all going to follow through, and this one kind of goes like, nah, sorry, we're drawing a line under that, which is, some people are really sulky about. I'm a bit like, yeah, it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, after a decade, I think they're well within their right to do that.
Sorry, they're not drawing a line under that your decisions matter, but they're drawing a line under the previous game decisions matter, right?
More or less, yes. So when you
Gotcha.
create your character, you get to create the Inquisitor, who was the main character from the last game.
Right.
And there's like 3 or 4 choices you can make. So it's like if you really remember what you did 10 years ago, then you can fill in those blanks and you can crack on.
Yeah,
And
thankfully, I don't.
Yeah, the assumption is that will have some effect on the game. I don't know yet. The Inquisitor hasn't appeared, but yeah, it's very much like, look, you can just use like a default one. Don't worry about it if you didn't play Inquisition or it was that long ago you don't remember. Point is, I'm not upset about my decisions not carrying over because I never assumed they would because it was so long ago. Who cares, right? And the game is set 10 years after the last game as well. What is cool is that the story does follow on. Because, so basically, in Inquisition, it turned out that one of your party members, this guy Solus, who's this elf wizard fella, who's incredibly bald, coming from me.
How bald? What do you mean incredibly bald?
Like
On a scale between Sean and Matt, what are we talking?
Yeah.
he's more bald than either of us. Like,
Well, yeah, but
Wow, but
if we like, shave every part of hair off our head, More bored than that? That's about as bored as you can get, right?
It's not even.
Are we talking like Duncan Goodhue?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a good
Holy
kid.
shit!
So basically, at the end of Inquisition, it turned out, and this is the whole setup for the new game, so don't have a go at me about spoilers. It turned out he was the Dread Wolf, which is like
Sean,
you gave people a millisecond to turn off.
And basically, he announced he's gonna. In the world of Dragon Age, there's the real world, and then there's the Fade, which is where magic comes from. It's where you go when you dream. It's magic land, right? And there's this thing called the Veil that separates the two. And Solus's whole thing is that he's like, right, it turns out I actually did that. I put the Veil up back in the day, and I've decided it was a shit idea. I'm going to undo it. So this game opens up with like, fucking hell, he's going to tear down the Veil. The world's going to be full of monsters and shit. It's going to be awful. We need to stop him. And it's just, I don't want to spoil it, even though this is like the opening hour or whatever, but it is very cool what they do with that, and it's not as simple as it seems, and I thought that was a really good way to start the game. Where to start with this? I should say I am really enjoying this.
Can I ask you a question?
Probably going to say a lot of negative things. Go on.
This is what I wanted to ask you, because see, I've been reading like just some people that chatting about the game, what they think of it, and one of the things that has come away that I've heard is people just sort of saying that the writing isn't very good, and that the script is bad. Is that true?
I haven't found it bad. I've also not really like laughed or felt anything about it yet. But there's time.
Sean also can't read, so
yeah.
There is that issue.
It's fully voice acted, but it's okay. So the thing with this game is, 10 years since the last one. My understanding is it's had 10 years of development, but the first 5 years of it kind of went nowhere, and it was in real trouble, and then it got new directors in and stuff, and then
it's like Perfect Dark.
Found its feet with Perfect Dark. It feels like that conversation at the 5-year point was, let's just make one like we used to, right? And in some ways, that makes it feel very dated, and it very much feels like, oh god, yeah, this was a game that was like wasn't working for 5 years, and then they spent another 5 years sorting it out. Like, it's not a Duke Nukem Forever by any means, right? It's nowhere near as bad as that. Just you kind of have to stop yourself thinking like, yeah, but The Witcher 3 was a long time ago, guys. Like, the structure of the game, like, I mean, it looks gorgeous, right? It looks absolutely stunning. Like, people have different opinions on the way the characters look. There's a bit of a style to them, bit of a sort of, they look a bit like Blizzard characters, a bit sort of soft and like plasticine-y, but the environments are incredible. So this isn't me saying like, oh, it looks like a 360 game. It's the structure of it. Like, for the first sort of 5-10 hours, it feels like, so obviously this is a fantasy RPG, but it's like you're being just put through a series of levels, like dungeons, effectively, right? You're just fighting stuff. Right now is a cutscene. Okay, now we're teleporting over here. Now we're doing this, and it's not that it's not fun, but you spend a long time thinking like, why haven't I haven't been to a single place where I can just exist, right? Like there's this. You have the lighthouse, which is the Normandy in Mass Effect or whatever. It's your place where all your characters live and stuff. But like, at the very start of the game, there's like 2 or 3 characters to talk to, and they don't have much to say, and it's like, right, off on another mission, I guess. And there's no, like, there are towns, but they're just like the prelude to a mission. It's just you walking through some streets, and it's the illusion of like a lived-in world, right? It's like, oh, actually, I'm just following this waypoint, and then I'm going into a mission again. I'm fighting monsters in the sewers or whatever. And so in that sense, it feels really dated. The best example of how weird this stuff is that you're walking through these streets and there are shops, right? And you're like, oh, cool. Some of them sell armor and stuff. Most of them just sell these like trinkets, or I can't remember the term it uses for them. But basically, they sell items, the only purpose of which is for you to sell them to vendors to get money. So it's the same items you pick up in the field, right? And the whole thing is you go to a vendor, you're like, right, sell all this shit I've picked up that doesn't mean anything. But then there'll be vendors that's all they're selling. right? So it's like they put it in to just make it look like, oh yeah, well look, there's this street where there's like 5 different stalls and stuff, and 4 of them are meaningless. So strange.
I've seen that in RPGs before, though, right? I'm sure they had that in Starfield. Maybe they had like a couple of things, which is not a great example, but but like what I'm saying is that isn't that a hey, if you want to be a trader, and like that's the way I see it. I never get into any of that shit, but it was kind of like, hey, this shit is really rare on this place. So
yeah, but there's no indication of
right
when that might be really.
Okay, yeah, sure.
So there's that. But once you sort of reach a point and it starts opening up a bit, and then there's there are still quests that you can just essentially just fast travel to, which again it kind of has that Starfield problem where because you're in this magical world where like there's these magic mirrors that let you teleport all over the place. So at no point do you feel like you're traveling or like any distance between places means anything. They're just points on a map and you're just blinking between them. Which is kind of a shame because the other games made a really good job of like, oh no, I feel like I've moved across this continent, right? And I've progressed. That's gone. But once you just like, you can just go to an area and you're like, oh, actually, this is quite open now that I'm not doing a mission. And there are little quests to pick up and stuff and fights to get into. It's really nice. It's a nice experience. There's little environmental puzzles. There's trying to unlock doors and knock down bridges and drop ladders and stuff to make shortcuts to other areas and little side quests with your companions and stuff. And I am finding it like really charming and quite good fun. The combat is like Dragon Age has gone through a transition where like the first game was like, let's make Baldur's Gate again, and now it's an action game like 100%. You can like. It's like Mass Effect. You can hold one of the bumpers and it brings up like your commands for your squad mates, and you can like, right, you do this, you do this. It's got the sort of priming and detonation stuff from Anthem, if you remember that. They'd be like,
they repurposed it.
Yeah, so like certain status effects you can apply can be some are primers and some are detonators. So it's like, if one enemy gets hit with like the sundered status effect, there are then other abilities that will make them fucking explode and do loads of damage and stuff. That stuff's quite cool still. But the combat's obviously they've tried to make it more of an action game, even more so than Inquisition, and it is not as sharp as you would like. It's definitely quite messy in places, just loads going on, not entirely clear. Like it's not that it's necessarily a bad thing, but a game is struggling with like legibility when there's like there's an icon above your head when you're about to be attacked. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing because like the Arkham games did that pretty much, right?
Yeah, that was a staple of the Arkham stuff,
yeah. But here it feels like, oh no, you've put that in because you knew it would be impossible to read what was going on otherwise. But there's a big old fucking skill tree with different builds you can figure out and stuff, and apparently there are intentionally like really broken builds in the game, and some of the fun is like working those out. I haven't really sort of reached that point yet.
I'm struggling to feel where you sit with this. Are you thinking 7, 8?
Can I say 7.5? Is that?
You can say that. No. I mean, it's the most Sean Bell answer to anything ever.
7.5, not an average.
Yeah. So apparently the story does really pick up. Apparently, like the ending is like stunning. Like the whole sort of finale is incredible. But obviously that's probably 30 hours away yet. So I'm not like, oh well, apparently the ending's really good. So I'll just hold on for that. No, I am enjoying it. I do want the story to pick up a bit though.
How many hours are you into it? Sorry, at this point.
I don't know, 10, 15, something like that. Which you would think the story would have.
Yeah, I was going to say,
The way the story kicks off is really interesting, and then that kind of falls by the wayside. Apparently, at the start of chapter 2, it actually comes up with a bit of text that's like, "Hey, you probably want to crack on with the main story, but you should probably do like your companion quests," which I don't mind as a pointer, but also it kind of speaks to, like, I don't know, the fact that they needed to point that out. Like, you would think something like Mass Effect, I wanted to do every companion mission.
Yeah,
I cared about the companions.
It felt like natural, right?
Yeah, you just wanted to do them.
Yeah.
So the fact they've had to put in a message saying, "Hey, please do these," suggests that in testing people were like, "Well, no, I want to see the next cool main mission."
Yeah, sure.
Oh well, yeah. So they were missing them or didn't think them relevant enough, but they had to put a message just to say, really, come on.
Yeah, and apparently the payoff for doing them all is amazing in the end. Yeah, it's such a strange game. I am enjoying it. I can't stress that enough. But it's just
please ignore everything that I've said up.
It just, as I say, it just really feels like a game that got rescued, and this is what they pulled together. I really want to see what the same team do next, because I think with the momentum,
give them a rest, Sean. They've just after 10 years just shipped this.
Well, apparently
next one now.
There's going to be no DLC.
When they, what they make when they hit the ground running, rather than loads of people coming in halfway through and being like, oh my god, this is fucked. What do we do to save it? Like, just want to see them at full pelt now.
Well, they're apparently working on Mass Effect next, because it's they said they're not doing any DLC for this. It's done, and now it's just Mass Effect.
Bring it home.
Bring it home. I fully respect them choosing not to do DLC. I think that's fine. Same with Baldur's Gate and stuff. I think that's admirable, if anything. So yeah, I am really excited. I know it sounds like damning with faint praise. I am really excited to see what they go on to do. Yeah, weird game.
And you are gonna stick with this, regardless, because you love the series.
Having a lovely time. Obviously, as we say, this time of year is always tricky because you get to that. Well, is it going to be on the Game of the Year list thing?
Do I carry on? Is it wasted time?
Because
is it getting past round 1?
Like Metaphor Refantasio's there.
Yeah, I really want to try that.
Everyone's saying that's fucking incredible, so I'm just like, should I be playing
What's
that?
that?
I'm never gonna.
That's the Persona-like game.
It's a James Farley game that James Farley doesn't want to play.
I'm going to play it. I've got it. I'm going to play it. It's just, I started playing Black Ops 6 today instead, but I should maybe...
Yes, mate. That's the correct choice.
Yeah, that's what I'm playing.
Do you want to talk about that before I do the rest of mine?
Yeah, let's do Black Ops 6. So you spoke about it briefly last week. I fucking love this. I think it's brilliant. I think it's an excellent video game. I'm really enjoying the single player, although I'm still relatively early on. How are you getting on with the campaign, Matt? I know you were focusing on it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't. I've basically just finished the open world mission you mentioned when we were
Really? I thought you were right. Okay, I'm pissed off with you about a couple of things then.
Well, I know really one thing.
I really am, because so I just completed the. Well, no, I'm further than that.
Okay.
But right. Okay, is it a spoiler to say the open world? Can we talk about the open world mission a little bit?
I would like to hear about it, and I've not seen it. So.
It's like really fucking basic as you can get. There are missions on the map. So basically, you start in this sort of big area. You could get into a car with your squad, drive to, and it says here are your 3 main objectives, but here are a bunch of side quests. And the side quests range. The majority of them are like, here's a box with some, and then sometimes you'll go to the box and there's 3 enemies around it. And you go, okay, I guess. But it's so not a problem to do anything that I ended up doing everything on that map. Everything. And there are some of them that give you like a huge power up as well. So it's well worth doing everything because you get to call in helicopters and all sorts of stuff. I fucking really loved it, and I did everything you could possibly do in that mission. I don't know if you reacted in the same way.
I didn't, but I didn't, and I basically did like the main objective and another couple of them. What? Well, I did the main objective.
Did you get all the upgrades?
No, I did the main one. I met the. Okay, I guess were you the scout people? I met the scout people.
Yeah, you met the scout people.
I did the SAM site stuff. I got a load of the caches, the weapon caches, but I didn't finish all of it. I just thought, okay.
Did you get the helicopter?
No. Oh, I mean, I saw a helicopter. The what?
Did you get the mortar?
No. But I wanted to know, I wonder, do you reckon, would your cutscene be different? Because when my cutscene happens, once you do that area and you go to the next part of the mission, you see helicopters and stuff. I guess that's just the same for everyone.
Maybe you just have one less helicopter. But you played the mission completely different. So what it is, there's a big open world section, and it's not big. and it's not open world because it is very
Open
much
zone.
it's not like loads of shit that you can discover or anything. But you get to the end of it, and then there's like this relatively long mission at the end of it where like a palace is getting raided, and it's fucking great. It feels like old school COD. It's cut like it's what do they call it? Oh shit! What do they call it? Why am I not like a big moment in a scene?
Set piece.
Set piece. It's full of it's set piece heavy. Fucking hell. But the point is that you're going around doing all these little missions, so that it makes that whole thing more exciting because there's more shit going on and you've got more options to tackle it. I can't believe you rushed through that. That's mental.
I didn't rush through. I just thought I'm not going to do. I'm not going to do all of it. I'll just.
The bone I want to pick with you is that, Sean, right, how should I take this? Right, considering that Matt has played less of the campaign than I have, right? I logged on my Xbox, what, Wednesday night, was it, Matt?
Yeah, one night, yeah.
Wednesday night. And I just thought, I'm bang up for some COD multi. Have a look at who's on my friends list. Matt is playing Call of Duty. He's on the campaign, but come on, let's have a bit of multiplayer together. I sent him an invite. He texts me and says, sorry, just want to get the campaign done, mate. And I just thought, fuck off, man.
Because I don't find enough time to play games as it is. I'm like, well,
one session that week.
yeah, well,
Yeah, but
two.
how about you spend it with a mate, chatting and having a laugh while
Yeah, I
playing the
probably would have had a
multiplayer?
nice laugh actually.
Yeah, because if the whole point is you're playing it in service of being able to talk about it on the show,
And he hasn't even done that.
Spent
Well,
with
and
Dave,
just to
and
forget a
even
game
spent with
finished.
Dave is just as valuable, if not
Yeah.
more so.
Yeah, it probably would be
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Think
Well, I
all
do
the
apologise.
anecdotes you'd have heard, all the
Yeah,
anecdotes
yeah.
and the voices that I do. You remember the voices that I do?
Yeah, I remember the voices. Yeah, I
Your
remember the voices.
your gameplay schedule, your priorities are insane. I still cannot believe you've not played Outlaws, which was a big part of this show for 2 years, and you bought day one and paid extra to play early, if I remember correctly.
Well, no, I just bought like the month of what do we call it? That stuff, Ubisoft
Oh,
Plus.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
So now you don't even own the game. You've got no way of playing
at the
it.
cinema.
Well, I'll just resubscribe if I want to play it.
Fucking hell. Yeah, that hurt, Matt. I thought me and my best mate playing
I do apologise.
a little bit.
But I was
Sorry,
like, okay,
James, sorry, Sean.
maximise what time I do have to play games. I thought I was enjoying playing the game so much.
But what's the result of that? What's the result of me fucking me off on Wednesday? What is the
Play a
result?
little bit more of the game.
That you
innit?
haven't got as far as I have in
It's
the
not a
campaign.
race. It's not a race. How many missions have you done then? 8?
No, I'm not counting them.
Okay. I will say, like, one of the ones previously I absolutely loved, where we can say what happens in a mission. That's not in the world. Is it to spoil a COD mission, for goodness sake?
What do you
Look,
mean?
No, I can say what I did in an early mission. I don't think it's the end of the world to spoil
You
what
talk
happens
about
in
the
the COD.
spy mission.
Yes, the one where like the
That
auction.
pissed me off a little bit. Because they did that better on a previous one.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
And I was just like, it's like there's part of me. It's like there's so much more stealth in COD campaigns these days, and it does feel like they've gone. Like people were going, look, guys, you've got to do something different. They can't just be like kill corridors for 8 hours. Like you've got to mix it up a bit. And they've gone, well, stealth mission then. Right, okay, I guess this is okay. It's a bit shit. Well, stealth mission now on every game. Fuck you. Like, it's like, and that one was a little bit like that. It was like, well, spy mission then, but then spy mission in every game. Fuck off. Like you wanted it. You wanted it, so we're doing it.
I just really enjoyed that, where you had like the various
Did
ways,
ya?
the various ways of getting information, and then, but I'm not sure it's that same level. But then the one where you have to like where you sneak. Is it? Yeah, it's the same one. Like, once you get like the item, then you have to like sneak into like the other part of the base. I think after the bikes, actually, I think it's a more different level. Where I did like
That's
the first
level. The bikes is the first level, yeah.
Well, actually, it's after the bikes. Anyway, whatever that is, where like you snuck in.
So
for the
glad you
first
fucked
bit.
me off
It's
for
brilliant.
this. All these opinions that you're bringing to the table here. Yeah,
Saying like
nice.
that
So
bit,
back
the
in
level
the
after where you have to sneak through before it all kicks off is absolutely brilliant. I
Bit where
love
you
that.
have to sneak through, Dave.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
so glad he didn't
been
play
playing
with me that night. Could have got that. I think my favourite thing about the COD campaign is that you can clearly see what they think of their audience. Holy shit!
I've played the first mission of this, and the story stuff. I know everyone is like, oh, it doesn't matter and all that kind of thing, but the story in this actively irritated me.
Yeah, no, I never liked the story in these games.
Really
what I
annoyed me.
tend to do is play through the games and then read the plot on the thing and go, yeah, I did do that bit.
I know, but the plot stuff for like the previous Black Ops stuff were at least
The one where they were all in the prison.
yeah, that was at least
Yeah, that was great. That was a good one.
interesting and everything. This
Yeah, that was a cool one.
it really irritated me like the start of this game.
I don't understand it. I don't know what's going on. I'm not paying attention. But what I mean is that I love the fact that they think their audience are idiots. Like, have you heard about the code system in this, Sean?
No.
Did you get that far? No. So, when you're hacking into it, there's a big puzzle that you've got to work out to code your way through. And what it is that you've got to work out what the code word is. And there are numbers at the top of the screen, like 1, 7, 6, 5. And at the bottom of the screen, 1 has an L next to it, 7 has an O next to it. And you go...
Fucking hell.
So it's that then, is it?
Cipher.
And then and I thought, no, there must be something else. No, there's not. That's it, is it? That's the
actually, I
puzzle.
thought when I did that puzzle, I was like, okay, this. Yeah, I thought there was another. Have you done all the puzzles in the safe house?
Yes, I was going to get to this. Sean.
I really enjoyed that, and I
Please do
wanted
the
more of
puzzle.
that.
You're fucking kidding me.
No, because it was kind of like. Well, I was going to say it's kind of like The Room. I just thought it was fun.
Light and it's like you follow the arrows and
all of them are like that, Sean. It's
brilliant.
like the shittest escape room you've ever been in. It was like, here's a flashlight. If you use it, you might see a code. If you press the flashlight straight away, the first clue is right in front of you.
Right in the
and then
room,
you do that, and then there's a bit at the end, and I don't want to spoil it. If you don't want to know, then please fast forward, but fucking hell, you will know the moment you hear it. You play a tape in a room, and there are loads of like objects in this room with numbers written on them. You play a tape, and it's a little story where it goes, the uncle saw a rocket and went to the TV and picked up a tray. And you're kind of, so the code is 4681 then, brilliant.
Yeah.
It's so bad. It is so bad.
I thought that was fun. But so I did all that because it was fun. And then I got an achievement saying you've done all the missions in the safe house. I was like, what? It's like took 5 minutes. What do you mean all of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, I think
because someone must have pitched really hard to put that stuff in.
I thought it was like a fun little whatever throwaway thing.
Like, no, you can't make it this No, dumb it down.
But I wanted more of it and more complicated.
Idiots. They never get it.
I wanted more of it and more
house.
complicated. I'm with you there for sure.
Yeah, it's a big house. Like now I'm like walking around saying, after doing a 5-minute or 10-minute thing in no time at all, straight away without having to wait for further missions to unlock different parts of the house. I've got achievement, no more puzzles. I want to explore this big old house and see what's around corners. There's no point now because there's clearly nothing else to do.
The thing that I found, Matt, is that like I'm with you. I wish they lent heavily on that within those moments.
Yeah, they got way more potential.
It's okay to leave some of your audience behind, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when it feels pointless when you come up to like a puzzle where it goes, will you go left or will you go right? And at the bottom it says go right. Like that's what the puzzles feel like. It's like, well, genuinely I was sitting there going, no, there's got to be something else to no. Okay, right. Okay, fine. Really
when I saw that the puzzle with the letters and numbers, I was like, I'm gonna have to get a notepad out now and write things down. No, it just says bunker. I knew the word after the second letter.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be an anagram, and you had to work the anagram out.
Yeah, saying a little bit more.
It just didn't do that. That hasn't got in the way of my enjoyment of the game. The actual levels are pretty good. It looks brilliant. It's what you want from a COD game. Yes, they do retread old ground, and I don't think they do it as well as they've done before in certain instances. But I certainly think that open world, like I played that open world level and went, actually, I could do an open world COD game. I think that could work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, again, having not played a COD for ages, I'm like, is this the first time they've kind of done this? Like, maybe if it's a concept or proof of concept of what they could do, then yeah, like. But then
when you as you said last week, when you complete the first mission in the game, and it says this has been unlocked by 2.6% of the audience, you go, oh, that's why they don't.
I'm still getting that now. It's like 2 weeks late, 2 weeks after.
Thing about that. Cammy was telling me because he watches Jeff Gerstmann's stuff, and he mentioned this, and someone pointed out. So apparently that is because on the Xbox, Call of Duty's been rolled into one app now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
actually,
just a
that's
Call of Duty
counting-
app.
That's counting everyone who's ever played a Call of Duty.
I don't know if I
basically.
believe that. I don't know if I believe that. I just don't know if I believe it. Because I would expect it to be way lower, right? And also, why would it? Because when you open up the achievements on the app, it doesn't put all of the Call of Duty achievements in it.
Oh,
it
really?
just puts the
Sony
Black
just
Ops
showing
ones
the-
on it.
right,
So
okay.
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah,
it's like the
I don't
app
know
to
if I go
download
for
all
that.
the various Call of Duties.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, like I did one
They've
today.
got
It's
to-
like 2
they've
weeks later.
got to fucking sort that shit out, though. They have got to sort that shit out. It's been like this for years now, where you download the fucking game and it's like, well, we've downloaded another 3 Call of Duties for you, so what of it? And you go, fucking hell. And it's like, even when you load the game, it's got some of the most unintuitive menu systems I've ever seen
Menus
in a
are
modern
bad,
video
right? I
game.
wasn't sure if it was just me being old or out.
shit.
Of
There are a
touch,
lot
but
of them.
Yeah,
It's that, and it's also every time I start the game, it always just says like
Restart?
Black screen.
this needs to
Yeah.
be restarted
Yeah.
because there's been an update, and it's just like
Yeah, well, it's either that or black screen. Like, it doesn't do what do you call it? Game suspended game or
Quick
whatever.
resume, whatever, yeah.
Yeah,
Nah.
quick
But it's a
resume, it
live
doesn't
service
do
type
that.
game.
Well,
I
I
get
do wish
that.
some games would just disable it, or maybe I don't know if you can disable it yourself.
but
I don't
other
know,
games
but-
do it better though, Matt. Like, you can't.
Yeah, but on
like,
Destiny, it would always
I was
like
gonna
go
say,
to
yeah.
kick you back to the main menu. It's like
yeah,
those
it
kinds
kicks
of
you back
games.
to the main menu, but this doesn't kick you back in the main menu. It
Right,
just
just
sort of
crashes
freezes,
all.
and you've
Yeah.
got to manually close it and then relaunch
Oh, I haven't had
it.
that issue. But
Really?
no, I mean, I haven't had black screen. If I go to it, it will just say like this now requires a restart. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Well,
Well,
good
Matt's
for you.
copy's fine, Dave. So
Yeah, good for you. Well, I'm glad for you. But I don't know. As for the multiplayer, I fucking love it. I'm just really, really enjoying it. I'm having good fun with it. Like, I know it could be heavily weighted with bots and putting you in old man groups, which is
don't know what you're talking about, mate.
fine by me.
I was
Well,
against a
we
load
were-
of pros
John and I
beat
were
them all.
John and I were playing the other night. We had like 25 kills each and we lost. We went, how did we lose? And John turned around and went, when me and you were top of our team, you know that we're not going to win because how bad are the others, you know? But I've had so much fun with it. Just really fucking good, like old school action. I will say I do prefer 4 versus 4 multiplayer. I think you've got a better understanding of what's going on a map, and you feel more part of it, and that you're actually making a difference. And you do get that in moments with this. But when I just feel like when the multiplayer sort of numbers start shooting up, you feel less like it's your team and that you're just in amongst them. So I think it's here. It's like 8 aside, is it? Is it 8 aside? I
think
can't
so,
remember
yeah.
100%. But 4v4 feels right for me. Like it feels right to me. It feels like that you can actually control the game, and that, like, I think I underappreciated how good the PvP stuff was in Destiny, because that's the last time that I thought, oh no, this feels real. Like this feels so solid, and maybe Halo Infinite as well. Like that at times when we were into that, it just feels like you're part of that match and you're an essential cog in that match. Whereas at times with this, less so. There's also a problem with, like, it does the stuff that games have done for a while, where it's like play of the game and the top 3 players. So many times where I've seen the play of the game and gone, hold on a minute, I've done something way better than that shit. So that infuriates me. But it's brilliant. Like, it's a really fucking good Call of Duty. So if you were interested, like, you should definitely check it out. When we're praising the campaign, we're not saying, look, this is good as Titanfall 2, or this is a very high bar for first person shooting. It's not. It's just a very good Call of Duty game. And if you've never liked Call of Duty games, then you will not like this. There's nothing here to go oh, actually get rid of those preconceptions you've got of this, because this is different. It's not. It does a couple of different things that are quite surprising.
That, like, I couldn't get into Modern Warfare 2 a couple of years ago, whereas this, I've enjoyed what I've played quite a lot.
Cool.
But then I think so much of that was Modern Warfare 2 was the friction I felt in the campaign, and that, I think that just sort of threw me off. Whereas this,
Right.
I didn't love the campaign, what I played of it, but I was just like, all right, that was fine. I'll try the multiplayer now, or I'll try zombies or whatever.
You should definitely check out the campaign a little bit more, because it does stuff that's quite surprising. I don't know if you've heard anything about it, but there's a mission that I'm on now where it's like, I would say it feels like Doom.
Okay.
And I was not expecting that, and that was clearly the influence for the mission that I'm on. It's it's quite surprising actually.
Yeah, as someone who hasn't played a campaign ages, like, it just feels like the Call of Duty I've haven't played for years, because I haven't played maybe more of the recent ones which weren't reviewed terribly well. But yeah, it just feels like it's another great Call of Duty campaign, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's great. It's like a dumb Mission Impossible movie in video game form. It's great.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying Call of Duty Black Ops 6.
Sorry, are you not a zombies guy, don't you?
No, I've never got it. I've never understood it. We tried it the other night, and we were kind of like, okay. Like, I've never really understood it, because to me, it's always felt like that was Activision reacting to that. Well, that's how it started, right? This was the reaction to Gears of War, right? When that
Left 4 Dead as well.
Left 4Dead to some extent, but this is way more of a horde mode than, or it was. I mean, I know this. You actually move about the map a lot more. But
what's interesting, because I didn't realize. So obviously, I not really paid attention to COD for a long time, and I'd seen bits of zombies footage. I was like, oh fuck, there's like giant monsters and shit. That is actually mostly gone in this one. I didn't realize this one is intentionally, like, they've pulled it back and be like, right, we're not doing as much of the ridiculous shit anymore. It is more straight up just fighting zombies for the most part, which I didn't realize. So part of me was sort of looking forward to that stuff, but apparently a lot of people are saying no, it got like way too silly, like it was just spectacle and not actually as interesting as a game. So I don't know.
Look, I'm missing something with zombies. I've never got it, never understood it, never really enjoyed it. But it's massive, isn't it? It's absolutely massive. That so. It just feels like missing something with that.
What multiplayer modes are you playing then? Is there anything new this time?
For me?
Yeah.
No, just team deathmatch, conquest, or domination, I think they called it in this. Kill confirmed. We like a bit of kill confirmed. It's just the basic multiplayer stuff that we're digging. And that loop of getting loads of kills and upgrading your weapons and all that sort of stuff, it never gets tiresome. The funny thing is that I don't know if you noticed, John Denton tweeted, "Hey, what's the best weapon in the game?" And everyone said the default weapon you start with. So it's like, well, that helps as well. So the fact that you know that you've got a decent gun from the get-go. So and it's got rid of that old COD stuff that I never understood, where it was like, hey, for the first 20 games of this, you're going to play with iron sights. So why? Who enjoys that? Like, what is the point in that? Like, I hated that approach. And it also does really make me laugh where, like, Call of Duty now is like, hey, don't worry, Nuketown's coming back. Really? Again? It's like, what's the fucking point? Like, I said to John the other day, he was like, oh, this is from Modern Warfare, this map. And I was like, well, what of these maps are from Black Ops 6, please? Like, are any of them? It's like playing the bottom row of Grand Prix in Mario Kart. It's wild. But no, dig it. Think it's a good one. It is a good one. And about time, because this series has been stale for a while. Or not stale, but it's been stale for a long time. It's just been not that good for a while.
The Black Ops ones have been better, I think.
They've always been the highlight, I think. Yeah. Modern Warfare sort of fell by the wayside a while ago when they tried to relaunch it. The first relaunch game was okay, but Black Ops has always had that sort of Battlefield. What is it? 1866 or whatever. That war. Bad Company. It always has that Bad Company vibe. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Isn't it weird how the whole? Do you remember? Obviously, Treyarch did them for a while, and then Infinity Ward came in and made Modern Warfare, and everyone was like, "Oh fuck, Treyarch, Infinity Ward are the fucking boys. Like this is it now." And then obviously, a lot of Infinity Ward left to make Respawn, and now it feels like Treyarch are on top. Is that
well? Because this one's Treyarch and Raven, isn't it?
I mean, I was reading.
Well, Raven's been hasn't Raven just been like a support studio for a long time now? I think.
Well, Raven did their own ones though, didn't they? And they were the ones to see in between, wasn't it? Where it was like, wasn't it? Am I wrong with that? I might be misremembering that actually.
Well, I know people were looking forward to the Treyarch ones,
right.
But now it feels like they're all just helping out, regardless of whose year it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I was reading there's like 15 studios working on Call of Duty games now, which is Wow.
I mean, I'm up for it. Like if they continue to make them good, then whatever.
Yeah, if it's as good as this one, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. It is a good one. Okay, that's probably enough Call of Duty Black Ops. Sean, back to your list, and then
Hello. Couple of quick ones. Pokemon TCG Pocket.
Oh yeah, I've heard lots of people talk. I want to know what the hell it is.
So this is now the third mobile version of the Pokemon card game, so TCG trading card game. And this is the one where instead of so the last two were this is the digital version of the card game, and yeah, whereas this one is no, we are making this for mobile, right? So for starters, it sort of honors the fact that the actual Pokemon card game is interesting because it's mostly purchased by collectors, right? So there is a game, but most of the people who buy them they just like the cards and they just like collecting them. So there'll be, because when I was looking at getting into it because Isaac was keen, I was like, oh, but there's all these different expansions and stuff. Where do I fucking start? This is a nightmare. And then I looked into it, and everyone's like, oh no, loads of the expansions don't actually change the game at all. It's just new art for cards for Pokemon you already know of and stuff. But people love that. So this game is mostly geared towards collecting, and there's all weird little things you can make a virtual binder with cards in it and give it a theme and a name, and then look at my binder of my favorite cards. Or there's different you can unlock different sort of ways of displaying your cards. So there'd be a clear plastic case on top of a desk, and it's got they'll put my fucking Charizard in there. That's great, isn't it?
Look, Logan Paul is pulling one out and going, oh, fake screaming.
Well, this is the thing, right? Because there's different cards, different rarities and stuff, and then there's some that the fucking top tier rarity, right? And then when you unlock them, it shows you the card, and then it kind of zooms in on it, and then it's you're inside the card, and it's panning around, and it's it's a whole scene that you can't actually see from the card itself, right? Isaac and I got one of those when I was doing bedtime with him the other night. I'm like, all right, let's open a few fucking packs of Pokemon cards before you go to sleep. And we got one of those, and we were going fucking ballistic. It was great.
I love it.
What's this? What's this about? If you flip the card sideways to see a weird angle, that means you've got a good one inside the pack.
Oh,
seen that?
I don't know. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I did wonder about this because when
doesn't that take the buzz out of it a little bit?
Right, yeah, I don't know if they'll change that, but seemingly that's what you do at the moment. You flip it from one side. If it's got a weird angle at the top, it means it's got a good one in.
That's interesting. So okay,
it's a lie. Well, I read a report saying it's true.
Okay. So what's interesting about that is so when you choose right, I want to open a pack of cards, and it goes right, okay, and then it gives you shitloads to choose from, and then you have to so you can sort of swipe, and then be right, just swiping through all these identical looking packs of cards, right, and you can rotate them and look at the back of the pack as well as the front, and you're but they're all the same. Does it matter? But I wondered how much of that was just playing into urban myths around how you're supposed. Oh no, actually, if you flip it round, or you're looking for something special, or if people have weird habits about how they open them, or something. I don't know. Meaningless to me, but I did wonder if that was sort of leaning into myths about how you make sure you get a lucky pack or whatever. But yeah. There's battling as well, but it's very similar to the main trading card game, but it's really streamlined. So basically, it's smaller, quicker. I've been quite enjoying it. And again, the added thing of I'll play some battles and stuff, and then when I'm hanging out with Isaac, it's just oh yeah, I've unlocked X number of packs. Let's open them together. Yeah, it's quite fun. There's a premium pass that you get 2 free weeks on, which I've had the 2 weeks. Don't think I'm going to pay for it. But
what does that get you?
I don't know. It just unlocks more shit, doesn't it? I think there's an extra tier of quests and stuff that you can do, which then gives you these hourglasses so that you can unlock more packs earlier. Otherwise, it's normally just waiting for a timer to run down. Fine. The other one is I will try and be brief because I'm going to talk about it a lot. In February, it was the beta of Monster Hunter Wilds.
Let me guess, you liked it.
I really liked it, Dave. You would not believe. I mean, I will say, fucking hell, it runs like shit. It it's when you're out in the world, it's not so bad. But like the towns are like headache inducing. There is
have they commented on that? Have they said
they've said like calm down.
It's gonna be worse.
Fine by it's gonna
be worse than the Final Release.
So yeah, it's all gonna be fine by February apparently. What is funny is there is a prioritized frame rate mode. I was like, oh cool, I'll enable that. But fuck me. Do you remember when they put Witcher 3 on the Switch?
I do, and it was terrible because I played that.
It was like, wow, and I'm not even sure this is 1080p. This is something.
It was
else.
like, I remember with that, it was like they'd smeared like Vaseline all over the screen.
Exactly. So it's similar feeling. Yeah, I fucking adored it. It was sort of weird because typically a Monster Hunter demo is like pick one of the 2 or 3 monsters and then pick a weapon and then we'll just put you in a hunt. Whereas this was like you're in an open world bit and you can explore and stuff, but you can't actually do like you can't craft anything, you can't set up any new camps and stuff. Which so part of us was like, well, this is quite fun, but you can't really do much. Like you can still just do hunts, right? But because it's dressed up in a way like, oh, this is an open world game. Here's all the stuff you will do in the full game. It's like, all right, it's a bit annoying, but yeah, really fucking enjoyed it. See you in February.
Cool.
I saw it's doing like incredibly well on Steam compared to like Dragon Age, Veilguard. Like there's like was it 400,000 people playing rather than 70,000 playing.
Yeah, apparently it's doing better than COD for a bit. I mean that's Steam numbers, and it's false equivalence really because it's obviously a limited time beta versus a 70 quid game or whatever. But yeah, really interesting. It's mad how big Monster Hunter is now.
Yeah, it's not as big as COD. Come on. James, Silent Hill 2.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the only thing I've played over the last week because I played it on remote play while I was away, and I eventually got it to work fine, and it was good. But then I finished it. Was it yesterday? I think it was on Sunday. I finished it, and I mean, it's one of the best games I've played for years. Like, honestly, I had an incredible time with this game, and I just cannot believe it because, this was Bloober Team, and I can't believe that I've ended up absolutely loving.
I'm so glad that they did something good because I don't know why, but it really irritated me how much you go, this is Bloober Team.
Like, because their other games were terrible, David.
Yeah, I know. No, you're right. Like I can't comment. I never played their games, but there was just something about the way you hated Bloober Team that just rubbed me up the wrong way. I don't know what it was.
Well, either way,
your face.
They did an amazing job with this because it's brilliant. I mean, I don't know what to say about this. It's just atmospherically, it's just incredible. Like it's the best horror game I think, like ever. I think. I mean, if you compare it to something like Resident Evil feels like more of like I don't know. It feels more like a game. This feels much more like an experience, that you're playing through, and like the story is such like a kind of like it feels like a dreamlike state that you're in basically as like you're going through. And I don't really want to start going into the story too much because it's like unpicking, the fact that this is like a psychological sort of study really of like of a person that you're sort of going through, which is incredibly interesting. But I mean, it's just the fact that the interior environments in this, they're so incredibly oppressive, and it's just. I mean, there's sections by the end of the game where you're sort of underground basically for such a long period of time that when you come out into the open, you feel such relief. Like after just being down there in these enclosed spaces for so long with this horrible atmosphere, which is so this is what's so weird because I'm saying this is like a horrible feeling to play this, from because of the sort of the oppressive nature of it, but. It's still wonderful to explore. And also you were just talking about the COD puzzles earlier. The puzzles in this are brilliant. Like the way that they've been updated to for more modern sensibilities, where I could figure everything out, via exploring, by a bit of lateral thinking sometimes, and it's so satisfying to figure out some of the puzzles, and sometimes shocking as well. It's just there's just so much about this game that it gets completely right. And there was no point at all that I was, irritated or bored. And every evening when I went back to it, I was just I want to play more through this, And it's like each area is like this. It has that sort of onion quality of you walk into a new party, like a new I don't know, there's a prison in it, for example, and it's like it appears in the beginning to be quite simple, but then you like sort of unpeel it and it becomes more and more complex and like, but in a satisfying way that isn't irritating, like, because I hate puzzles, but in this game it completely works because it all fits with the environment. And I'm describing this really badly, but it's
you're
really
not.
good.
It does sound good.
It's
going to be too much for me though.
It might be. It's because it's much more upsetting, I think, in terms of content than anything else. Like any those Resident Evil games, like they're great. Like I really enjoy them, but they're just like they're just like
stream it. Why?
No, I'm not gonna do it.
But this, with this, you just feel on edge. Like I felt on edge the whole time I was playing this, but in a really good way. Because it just felt interesting. It was just that's what it was good about it. It's one of those games where you really, it's a good showcase of why games are. I'm not saying they're superior to other forms of media, but where it's showing the showcase of like of what you can do with games that you can't do with other forms of horror. Because of the fact that even though I'm in control of the game, I'm still not fully in control of of what's happening around me, and the way that things shift and the way things change, and the way that the story is imparted to you as well, because of the fact that it's not so linear as it is if you're experiencing a film or reading a book or something like that. It's just wonderful. It's really good. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Sounds like
what can you say? What ending you got without spoiling it? Probably not.
I don't know because there's like 9. I think there's like 9 endings to it or something.
Is
like
the dog ending still in it?
I don't know. That's
important. We need to find out.
Yeah.
Dave, have you ever seen the Silent Hill dog ending?
I have.
Classic.
Yeah, it's good. You have to complete it like twice, don't you, to get that?
Yeah. It's like weird specific set of requirements for it, I think.
Yeah. Okay, that's Silent Hill 2. I've only got a couple of very brief ones to talk about. Walkabout Minigolf, I'm smashing that since I got the 3S. The new, obviously there are a lot of courses that I never played before. Basically, I spent like £35 on DLC like the day I got that 3S, and we did the fucking courses are just, the licensed ones are unbelievable.
They're so good, aren't they?
Yeah, the Labyrinth one, I took loads of like videos and sent them to my sister because she was a massive fan of that film. The Wallace and Gromit one, honestly, just wonderful from start to finish. And as we were going through it, it was just running jokes of walking up to either Wallace or Gromit and asking which one they were. It's stupid shit like that. But you look at it and you go, there's so much effort put in there, though. Like it's way beyond what you expect. Yeah. Like every hole for that labyrinth level, you're like, this is its own unique reference, and it nails it. It's not just Bluto following you around. Like there's everything from the film is in this. Like it's so well done, except for David Bowie. And then we did the 8-bit Lair one. Have you done that yet?
I haven't. No, that's the newest
fucking
one,
great.
It?
Yeah, it's the newest one. It's just like a load of 8-bit concept stuff. You can see why this stuff isn't available on the Quest 1 now. Because, there's so much more detailed and you do so much, more stuff. It's funny, it's become a bit of a disagreement between our friends where, Chet really likes the ones that aren't too gimmicky because it's like then it becomes a little bit too hit and hope rather than actually down to skill. But I think that's because he's not very good at Walkabout Minigolf. And
it's weird because initially, like with the initial bunch of levels, like there's a bunch of like really good ones, and then there was like the space station one where there's loads of like stupid low gravity trick shots.
Yeah, it's a bit finicky that one, isn't it? It's not satisfying.
So then sort of for a while, it sort of felt like, I don't want like gimmicky ones, but then they do ones like Upside Down and stuff. It's like, no, this is fucking brilliant.
Oh, Upside Down was so good.
Yeah, man.
I've got to try Upside Down.
That's brilliant.
Have you not done it yet?
We haven't done think differently about. Oh, yeah, that's great.
I think we've agreed to just go back to like one of the original ones next to sort of to tone it down a bit, because obviously the Labyrinth 8-bit and Wallace and Gromit like very high concept, those ones, and there's some very but like there's so much good stuff that happens in those levels. Can't recommend the game enough. It's one of the essential games if you got a VR headset. Speaking of licenses, I'm also cracking on with the PowerWash Simulator Shrek DLC. I had a moment that made me fucking laugh this week. So I watched Shrek's Swamp. Swamp. And it's weird because like there's just part of it was like, oh, come on, you could have done this. Like, so you know the outhouse that slams open at the start of Shrek 1? You can open the door, but it doesn't play Smash Mouth. And you go, come on, like, just have some body, just that bit.
Yeah.
Like, when you open it the first time, it doesn't have that.
I'm guessing they can't afford it. Like, it must be...
Well, yeah, but it also gives, like, a really eerie feeling as you're walking around that swamp. And the only thing that I could compare it to is, imagine you were visiting, like, John Lennon's house, and you'd look around and go, this is where he would have written, like, Imagine, or this is where he would have had his cornflakes in the morning and just gone, and this is where he would have sat and turned the telly on in the morning. John Lennon sat here. I'm doing that in the Shrek DLC on PowerWash Sim. I'm like, Shrek would have had a shower here. Look, it's the bucket bit, and that's where he would have tried to get rid of Donkey. And like, I'm really privileged to be walking around this place.
It's an honour.
What an experience. It is an absolute honour. Yeah, what a weird fucking game that is. And I don't see it changing anytime soon. Also, these levels are far too big. They take forever just to get like 2% done. It's insane. But I will finish every single bit of that fucking lev. That's it. That's what we've been playing this week. Let's get on to questions from our faithful listeners and then wrap up and go home.
Maria Mendieta says, Dear TCGS Cothello, decided to go through all of Amanita Design's adventure game titles in my backlog this past month. While I love their worlds, the wearisome pointing and clicking got to me. If you could replace one of the 2 verbs in the point and click moniker to keep things lively, what wacky action in or out of game would you have players perform? Keep up the impressive work. Sincerely, Maria.
So this would be instead of saying like use or like.
Oh, I thought it was what would you replace point or click with?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah,
that's what I thought.
I thought it was
so like
the verbs.
Tickle and slap, slap and tickle. I did it the wrong way round.
Tickle and slap.
Slap and tickle. Slap and tickle. That is. Can we bring that back? Can we bring that back as a phrase?
Probably not.
Do you know that word?
I don't think it's problematic. I think saying it's problematic is kink shaming, actually, James. So,
really?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't say anything about that, Sean. So the fact that
I don't think James understands
me
what I don't think what James understands what slap and tickle means. That's I think that was sort of more of a common man phrase.
I'll Google it. It's
fornicate.
Careful.
Actually, I believe it was
Incognito
called.
tab for that one.
What happens if you go to a porn site and put slap and tickle in? Right, okay.
Or tickle and slap.
1940s,
Tickle and
like,
slap.
Yeah, that's my answer. Slap and
Prudence
tickle.
be loving this.
Yeah.
What if it's just point and shoot? It's a
Point
point
and
and click
shoot?
adventure game, but all you can do is just fire a gun at everything in front of you, and that's how
And
you
you
It'd
hope
be
that
like
takes
one of
you-
those. It'd be like one of those FMV gun games. I every now and then I watch that one. James, you must have seen that, right? The FMV Western gun game where it's the practice thing where he throws up a bottle into the sky. And if you miss, he just keeps doing it, and it keeps replaying the same clip of going, here's another one, and then he misses it. Unlucky, here's another one. And it can go on for like an hour of him doing that, and it's so fucking good. You've not seen this, James?
I've never seen it. No.
Oh, I've got to send you the video.
please
Please
send it
record yourself watching it because you will faint.
remember
It's
Black,
right
the
up your
first-person
street.
shooter, the Criterion one, and how like the only way to open doors was to shoot them open. And at the time we were in that phase where like a lot of writers were like, "Oh my god, this is so fucking base." Like, and it's like, no, it's supposed to be funny. It's a joke. It's a joke about your gun being the only interface with the world. Knows what it's doing, that game.
It's like what is it in the Doom game where you go up to like the keypad and instead of like pressing the keys in the keypad like the buttons, it just slams it with his. Sure, that was Doom, wasn't it? Yeah, that's good. Oh, so that killed that one.
Okay.
Matt, do you not want to answer? Or you,
I just
or
well,
James?
my original one was pass and move, because I just figured that would be much more interesting. You just get to move around rather than instead of point and click.
Yeah.
I've got movement, and then it's actually passing. It's a football. It's all football related. You're kicking balls towards people.
Okay.
That's the last time I asked you.
MD Kraboff.
That's fine.
When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up? And how would your first day go if you started doing that tomorrow? I don't think I know what I wanted to be as a kid.
No, I just.
Well, everyone wanted to be a footballer, didn't they?
No,
except for
not
Sean.
me. Yeah.
See,
Football was the obvious one.
I genuinely didn't want to be anything. I just wanted to get through the day. Honestly,
What? Even when you were a kid?
When I was a kid, I felt like that as well. Yeah, I just.
Oh no, you
Did I
fucking
ever tell you about when
didn't.
No, I
You
did,
lie.
David. Seriously, it was a thing.
I must have
And,
mentioned
yeah.
this
Wanna get
before
through the day.
when
Yeah.
Isaac was like 4 years old. I asked him what he wanted to be when he grew up, and at first he went like, "I want to do something with Pokemon," and then he sort of stopped for a minute and went, "Actually, I think I just want to do nothing."
Yeah.
I was like, yes, mate.
That's better.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, other than I want to be a footballer or a racing driver. I wasn't thinking, I want to be a vet or a surgeon or astrologist. I can't really think of anything like that. I was desperate to be when I was younger.
No,
And after a while, I was computer game programmer.
I think
and
yeah,
look how that
probably either games programmer or writing for games magazines, which I actually did. So that's fine, isn't it? I've achieved my dreams. I can die now.
Well, I did my
How was
first year of a games programming course.
How was it, Sean?
Pretty good. Yeah.
Okay. I always wanted to be on the radio. That's what I wanted to do. And then
Well, there you go. Now here you are.
Now look.
not on the radio. I was
No.
on Dash Radio for a bit
Yeah.
and Play
Well, there you
Radio.
go.
So yeah, you
Two
did
of
it
the most-
twice.
Two of the most well-established radio stations of all time. One run by Tommy Boyd into the ground. The other run by Snoop Dogg. We're not allowed to use their car
Car
park.
park.
So yeah, that was my dreams. Never got to live it.
Last question comes from Eskiel, who returns to say, "This summer I spent a week watching women's judo all day and going insane. Then I went to a judo class, fell on my head 20 times and threw up. Turns out it was a hardest of the year day. If you could be an Olympic class athlete in a sport, what would it be? No footy or any of that shit."
Why no footy?
It was too obvious, isn't it?
Okay. No, that's fair. I wish darts. But how is darts not an Olympic sport?
I
See,
think
I
it
was
will.
gonna
I think it will
say-
come in. I think it will
must do,
come
when
in.
you consider, like when shooting and archery and all that.
Yeah,
stuff,
shooting.
Like, yeah.
Also, it's like what they said. It's like, it's who is it? I was watching someone talk about darts, and they were going, "It's a much better sport than archery. Like archery's seen as this great skill, and darts seen as these proper non-athletic looking people throwing a dart. But then it's like with darts. It's like with archery. It's like this was it. It was that Sutherland guy. What's it? Rory Sutherland, I think he is the marketer that goes around and does his speeches and TED Talks and stuff.
Yeah.
I love that guy. And he was saying, it's like when you watch archery, it's really boring. It's like, which one are they going for now? The middle bit, is it? They go for the middle bit again, trying to get it as close to the middle bit as possible. With darts, it's like, fucking hell, what they what?
Yeah.
There's
So
definitely
much
there's
better.
definitely a bit of classism in there, right? As you say, I think it's seen as like a working class sport.
That
and
has to
therefore-
change. Yeah, it has to change soon because it's getting so big. It's getting so
See,
big.
I was going to go with a bigger dart. I wanted to do the javelin.
Oh yeah.
Fair enough.
Steve
Really?
Backley.
I was
That's
going to say,
a
yeah,
hero
for the
back in the day.
For the purposes of this question, are we assuming we're automatically great at the sport? Is
Yeah,
that
definitely, yeah.
That's
I
what
mean,
it is, isn't it?
If you can be Olympic class athlete, yeah,
yeah, you would be, yeah.
and one of the better ones.
I've mentioned it a few times. The podcast ain't got a clue. They were talking a couple of months back. There was some survey. I can't remember. It might have just been like Twitter polls or something, but it was basically asking people if they think they could do this list of Olympic events, and the amount of people who think that with a bit of training they could basically be in the Olympics.
Yeah, I love that shit. It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's like whenever you get involved in a new group of people playing football, the first thing I say is just let you know I really love playing football, but I'm shit at it because they can't handle it. Like they don't. What?
I know, because David, they've all had trials with West Ham. Or
They could have, but they had the knee injury. So
I could have been I was in the academy, but I just didn't really focus on
Speaking
school.
Speaking of things that people don't quite get, I don't know if you know this about me, but for the past 10 years, I've been messaging podcasts that interview footballers to ask a simple question, and it never gets read out. And I don't understand why not everyone's as interested as I am. And the question is, what is the biggest football stadium you can kick a ball into from the outside? And I think that is the greatest question about football ever. I love the idea of someone standing outside of a stadium and they go, well, I'm going to fucking lump this into Old Trafford. Like, that's really exciting.
That is a great question.
No
one's ever done it.
No one's ever done it. Well, it's got high jump's a good one because I just think it looks really fucking cool and majestic when you're up there. Although, did you see
doing it in your private life?
Did you? Yeah. Did you?
Just go out in the garden.
See?
Dad's going to do another high jump.
Did you see the guy?
Yeah, I know what you're about to say.
At the Olympics this year, and he failed because his dick knocked the pole off. Right?
Well, you might have that trouble.
I love the fact that people like us were laughing, go fucking loser. Yeah. So that would probably be mine. I think high jump is pretty amazing to look at. Although that's pole vaulting, isn't it? Not high jump.
Yes.
Yeah. That was pole vault. High jump's better because you haven't got a stick.
So you have to arch your back, go over it. Yeah, much better, much cooler.
Yeah.
Matt, I could see you either doing hurdles or triple jump.
Oh, the triple jump. That makes me feel... Right, honestly, I was talking about the triple jump the other day, right?
We remember this.
I reckon someone was really shit at the long jump. Or not really shit, but just not as good as the rest of the class. And then they ran up and they did the triple jump. And people go, you can't do that. It's a new one, actually.
Yeah,
Go on, try it. I mean, it makes no sense, but you could try it. I've been doing this in my garden for the past 2 years just to show all you lot up. It's a hop, skip, then a jump. What about that?
Was it Jonathan Edwards who set that incredible record?
I think it might have been. I think it might have been the JE. Like when he turns around and goes, but why you called it a triple jump then? If it's not 3 jumps, don't worry about it. Do not worry about it. Hop, skip, and a jump.
I mean, my answer is going to be snowboarding, actually. I was going to go Winter Olympics. Can you go...
living that dream, though, Matt.
Can you go sideways, look at it. Sideways, look at it.
In terms of what would just help
not until we get another job.
Day-to-day life, if I could just click my fingers and be like an Olympic, like long-distance runner, that would be fucking incredible.
It would be incredible and very helpful. And also you could just piss the local marathons. I'd be going, if I was a long distance Olympic runner, I'd be going a park run every fucking Saturday morning. Just
no, your body won't be built for it. Your body won't be optimized for the 5K. Yeah. You'll probably suck at that. Your body won't be optimized for 5K because your body will be optimized for doing 10,000 meters.
I run. It was a little joke. It was a little gag about
think
how
about
you
it.
show
You
me
need
the
to
We never talked about
science behind it.
When your
body wouldn't be optimized, actually. Shut up.
That's exactly my voice as well.
When we were out after the podcast awards and we were trying to find somewhere to go for a drink, which to be fair, it was like 11:30 on a Wednesday night or whatever. Yeah. I'm like, oh fucking hell, the nearest place is like 1.5 miles. And Matt's like, oh, that's only like a 10-minute run. If we...
I know that.
For you, Matt, look at the rest of us.
I don't think I said 10 minutes. Snowboarding, yeah, I want to go, but I can't go until I get another job. So, a job.
I know James is the sharpshooting. You remember that guy from the Olympics that had that crazy little eye thing this time? That's James Farley.
I would like that. It'd be cool.
It would be cool, wouldn't it? Right. Cool. Okay. Is that it for questions?
That is it for the questions.
Then we shall get to the socials.
Yes. We stream this show and maybe some games as well in the week on Twitch. Go to twitch.tv/TCGSco.
Can I announce my new one?
You can once I've finished, yeah. No, you can do it now. I didn't realise you were announcing that tonight.
So I'm starting a new streaming series on Fridays, which Sean has kindly worked up some amazing art for.
I've not seen this. Has this been in a group chat?
Yeah. Multiple times.
I missed this. Sorry.
Yeah. So what I'm going to be doing is it's going to be called Farley's Fresh Cuts, and basically what I'm going to do is every week on a Friday I'm going to play a new game that has come out that week, and so that will be the first one will be happening this Friday, and yeah, I think. Should I say what the game's going to be now, or do I just
trail it?
know,
If you get people excited, what are you going to play?
I mean, the trouble is I'm kind of torn between two at the moment, so I'm not really sure which one to go for. Either, there's that Metro VR game. I'm kind of interested in
Metro, people are getting quite pumped about that. So
because that could be quite interesting. Or the other thing is the Mario and Luigi, the Brothership game, which is coming out this week as well.
It's got middling reviews, right?
Yeah,
it has. Yeah,
Metro is probably the better stream, right?
That's what I'm thinking now. Yeah, because
especially when you do text to speech.
Yeah. That's true. That is true. So that's I think what it's going to be. I think maybe in that case it will be Metro VR this Friday at 9:00. So that's the first week. That'll be what that is. But yeah, and then every week there'll be
what a plug.
No. Every week there'll be something new. It may be from Game Pass. It may be from whatever, but
it better be from Game Pass. You're gonna be skint.
I was gonna say, buy a new game every week, James. Bloody hell.
James is fucking loaded. What are you talking about, boy?
Quite a lot of them probably will be from Game Pass.
Well, yeah, you can watch James streaming his fresh cuts every Friday from 9 on twitch.tv/TCGS code. Search TCGS in the app, and if you've got an Amazon Prime account and a Twitch account connected to him, you get something called Twitch Prime Gaming. We get a free sub every month to give to a channel of your choice. Why not go to our channel and give us your free sub? We really appreciate it, especially when James is streaming. Maybe you can write a little message and it'll get read out to him in a little robot voice. That'd be nice. If you miss the streams live, go to youtube.com/@TCGS or search TCGS in the app to see our VODs. You can support us on Patreon if you want to support what we're doing over here. Patreon.com/TCGS for exclusive monthly bonus podcasts. October's was out last week. We did some scary stories or spooky stories. What else do we talk about? Talk about, boys? Fish. Sean's a monster. I guess that's all we can say.
No, I'm not. That's a horrible accusation. No, I'm not.
Yeah, the spooky stories was very good. What else did we do? We did a bunch of other things. Anyway, it flew by. But you can listen to that.
It was a long one. It was like an hour and 15 minutes, something like that.
Big.
On my watch.
Or you can, or you can watch us do our video shows every month as well. It's all over there, and the website is tcgs.co for links to our amazing Discord community, store, podcast, socials. It's all on there.
All right. Well, we will catch you next week for some more video game chit chats. Thank you so much for living it. We love you all. Goodbye.
Bye.
Cough.
James, you can't hear that.
Yeah, goodbye.
There we go.
Can't hear a wave, James.